we have a quorum. And so I'm going to call this meeting to order at 5:36 p.m. And I'm going to ask the public if there are any comments at this time. And since there's no one in the room, I'm going to move on. There are no public hearings at this meeting, but we do have approval of our previous 4 meetings minutes that Geo has attached to this.
I only was at one of them, so.
Yeah. And none of them had significant action. These are really just a record of meeting and discussion.
Okay.
But if you guys would take a glance, and if you don't see
I
anything
didn't really see anything.
untoward, then I would love a motion to approve this from one of them.
Nobody sees anything that I'm missing there.
May I make a motion that the Big Bend Film Commission be reinstated at 3 times its budget?
John asked if he could make a motion that the Film Commission grant be reinstated at 3 times its budget. If we're that on the agenda, John, we might be able to recognize that motion. We did have a music video shot yesterday.
Oh, we did something here, but.
Isn't Chris Ruggiero running around down south?
What was that, John?
Okay, Chris Ruggiero, isn't Chris Sibley running around down south shooting a big feature?
I haven't heard from him lately.
Yeah,
He'll be here in October. This is the next fiscal year, right? And that last email he sent us.
Yes. Well, I bet they're scouting.
yeah, they're supposed to headquarter in Alpine.
Yes, they're supposed to headquarter in Alpine. There's a feature film that will be made here in the fall.
So I'll make a motion that we.
Approve the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the January 4th, February 15th, May 16th, and June 27th minutes. Do we have a second? So we have a second. Is there any discussion on this question of approving the minutes? If not, then I would ask all in favor to please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, none opposed, so the minutes are approved. Thank you very much for that. And then we're gonna move forward and let's see if I can share my screen on Zoom. And I can't. So for John, you can see this better than anybody because we don't have the TVs. But our next application to score is Alpine High School alumni events. I'll give you guys a minute to find that in your printed packets. It is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13. It is the 15th application in order.
Alumni events.
Yes. Alpine High School alumni events.
Does it have that on the title page?
It's in
Alpine
Independent School.
Yeah, Alpine Independent School District said
It
that.
has 2 of them together, so it would be the top one. Oh, you're I'm looking on this, I'm sorry. It says, Alpine Independent School District, June 10th.
The amount requested is $10,000, which is $4,000 for advertising and $6,000 for sporting event expenses. Since advertising is social media advertising, promote 2 events, homecoming and baseball and softball celebration to Alpine High School alumni who live outside the area. The sporting events are homecoming events for alumni at a football game, including honoring the state runner-up Fighting Buck football teams for 72 and 73. And then also an alumni-specific Alpine High School basketball game. So what I see here is an effort to invite an audience that has a strong connection to Alpine and a reason to come back. We don't know if it's gonna work, because it hasn't been done before, but,
They invite people to homecoming every year.
Not like this, though.
yeah, this adds this,
Do they honor teams and stuff?
They have last year and the year before.
and the difference is the budget to advertise it.
Oh, it was right on top. Ay, ay, ay.
Okay, and
Okay.
so we are in our scoring mode. And so,
Help me understand this game.
yeah, so we have to, because we don't have, let's look at the.
Talking about overnight stays, I didn't see anything in here that that spoke to that.
They are estimating 200 people attending the event, staying in Alpine Lodging, staying 2 to 3 nights. They will reserve hotel room blocks.
What year are they asking for?
This is for 2025. Let's see,
To their.
October 2024 and April 2025.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Because their event is like, they wouldn't get the money till the first, and then their event's the 11th.
That is true. This is going to be most effective for the baseball, softball.
Aren't they supposed to put the money up first and then get money
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
for it after they
But it
spend?
has to be spent within that fiscal year.
Yeah, that's one of the difficulties
Oh,
for
okay.
events that have people that have October events specifically, that it works best if they, like, if,
Start a year. before.
yeah, if they get some money. In fact, in practice, what I would recommend for them is to keep back some of that advertising to promote the next year's homecoming before that.
But if they spent now, and then this would be, then they could claim this,
They
and then they
actually-
could use that for the next year,
They
right?
actually can't,
Okay,
because,
right.
yeah, the fiscal year for the city's accounting is just a brick wall.
Okay.
And so nothing that happened before October 1 counts,
Okay,
unfortunately.
well,
So they're estimating 200 people. And so how do you want to,
and they're only listed on here once too, so,
yeah, for those 2 events?
right. Are we,
It's for the baseball and homecoming bundled together.
okay, so that's what I'm looking at. I'm seeing this is Alpine Independent and this is Coconut, and then that's.
What is the
Coconut right
total
here.
that the committee has to spend on all these things?
We have 400,000 to spend, and
We
right
haven't started dispersing.
now we have 545,000 in requests.
Oh, so it's no longer 650.
Yeah, we when we determined that the
The
Film
Master
Commission,
Commission,
the
the
historic
Big Bend.
district, the Bienvenido Big Bend,
Oh, thank you.
you know, the ones that we and the ghost tours that were incomplete,
Mhm.
that removed. And it brought the overage of what people were requesting down to 145,000.
Under complete application, it just put no. It's got 4
Yeah,
of
and
those
here's
in the graph.
if-
Yeah, here you go. Try that one.
that has they're grayed out, the ones that were incomplete.
Graph.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Sorry, I thought that's what you were looking at.
I just handed them, John, a printout of the same spreadsheet you're looking at on the screen.
Roger that, boss.
And it's 400,000 that's available?
Yes.
Is that right?
And at this point, we're
That's boring.
doing the required scoring process. So we need to give from 1 to 10 an estimate of what you think the impact on hotel stays would be.
May I ask a question?
Of course, John.
Is that 400,000 cast in stone or concrete or whatever they do it, or is there a possibility that there actually is more money for events like the one we're talking about?
For our purposes, we should consider it cast in stone, but the council can do what the council wants to do, because they're
Okay, just wanted a clarification.
yeah, you bet.
Right now, we just need to get the scoring done so we can figure out if we're gonna send over there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm I'm having a hard time with even scoring this because of what you just told me.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do in that event?
I think we should score it a 10 across the board and let them do their event and then take a look at it again.
That would, well, you have to make a guess as to what you think, what you think the draw is for high school alumni. You know that the first event will be under advertised because of their tight time frame.
But you gotta give them a start then, right?
Well,
Maybe.
that's where the new and innovative, I think, would come in for extra points. But and again, we just have to get through the scoring, and then you guys can decide how much you want to give them. And even if something scores 0, you can fully fund it. That's just a tool for you guys to use.
So for a high school alumni event, isn't that just a letter you send out to people who went to the school and they're like, hey, do you want to come to this event? So what are the funds actually paying for?
It said,
Electronic.
it says social
in your
media
packet.
advertising.
It's not in there. We can share.
They explicitly mentioned social media advertising. One of the things I know that their goal is for both Sul Ross and the high school, neither one has what you would want in a database for an alumni group. And so I think my hope would be that part of this process that they're starting would be to start to build that. So you could actually do something where they could come to us and say, hey, we want to do a mailing to all the alumni and invite them to town. I'd pay for that, but they don't have the list yet. They're just over the years, it doesn't exist.
So does the money they're asking for pay for them to gather that information? Is that covered?
It's not explicitly mentioned here. No, I have talked to the superintendent and she has expressed that, an interest in doing that, but it hasn't been done yet. And it's not mentioned in this application.
So
So
where is the money actually going?
it says social media promotion for the alumni events. Well, it sounds like Facebook and
Facebook?
Instagram to me.
So, but they're asking for.
Reception
4,000
expenses.
for the advertising and
Trying to pay
6
for
for the
the
sporting
sell
events.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so here's how, that's the total amount, and this is what they want in top funding for each category.
May I ask another question, please?
Yes, John?
Is it absolutely necessary that we score a first-time event?
Well, we say in the guidelines that the applications will be scored. So I
Yeah.
feel like we have to. So my suggestion is make
Okay,
up a
on
number.
overnight stays, I'm gonna go with 3.
You're gonna go with the 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
We have a 3 and a 5, Evan.
I
Just-
think it looks good for overnight stays because if none of those people really live here anymore, they're gonna have to stay somewhere. And most likely they're not gonna be
But
staying in.
Is that 200 gonna
family
show up
house.
for it? That's
How
what we're
many,
saying.
how
But-
many total people are they, can they actually contact?
We won't
They
know.
have-
With $4,000, they can contact lots. We can't guarantee that all the people they contacted.
Alumni students are there,
I don't have those numbers.
more than 200, like,
I
are
would
there
say, yeah.
1,000?
Easily 1,000.
Potential people that they could attempt to contact, and then out of that amount, 5% may show. Those are
How
the
many of the
statistics on
participants are
sales.
expected to use Alpine hotels, motels, or bed and breakfast? 200 people.
I'm just wondering the validity of that number.
Right. And I can't think of-
On every single
Every
one.
one of them.
yeah.
I give it to you. You
Yeah.
start there, you're gonna look every single one of them. We had that same question.
Right.
No, we're supposed to
Well-
score them on based on
But
what we
that
think
is
they'll
We,
do.
we,
Then give it a number.
but we, at this point, given the information that we have, yeah, these are solid questions. And if it would, ideally, we would have those answers, which we don't. So we just have to make our best guess in
Do you think
absence
that,
of
that
information.
they'll bring in 200 outside people for this event?
There's a
I think
possibility.
it's entirely possible
It's the first time.
and I'm inclined to support an effort to invite this audience, whether they're going about it the right way, whether they have the right budget, whether they're gonna be successful.
They have
in
heartstrings
that
to the
impact.
area.
I don't know. And so we just have to guess.
Like,
Okay, John, what number would you give?
I'll give them an 8 as well. I
Okay.
think that we have to say, you guys go do it, and then we'll take a look at what you did. And hope that it's successful. Isn't that what we're about?
I completely agree. Thanks. We have a number. It's 5.75 is the average. Professionalism and planning indicated within the application. 5. Heidi, what would you say?
Um. I'll go with a 5.
Okay,
This is out of 10 points.
that's out of 10, yeah.
Yeah, 5.
Okay, John?
Well, I'll do the same thing. It's sounds like a wait and see number.
Okay. Capacity to put on to carry out the event. You say 10, John?
Oh, 10, absolutely.
Okay, we have 2 10s. Heidi?
They've never done an alumni color run before, right?
That we know of.
So I'm gonna go 5.
Okay.
8.
And 8. Great, thank you. That is 8.25. Diversity of revenues, it looked like 71%. According to this form.
Yeah, they're putting something into it. We're not asking for the whole thing to be funded, which we've seen on a lot of them, so I noticed that right on.
So what would you say, give them for diversity?
I'll give them a 7.
Okay, Heidi?
I'm stuck on 5.
Okay, Evan?
I would do a 7 on
Does
that.
Alpine ISD have an alumni association that does these?
I agree. I think 7's a good number here.
Okay, thanks, John.
It's
And,
gonna be the ISD Buck Boosters and AHS graduating classes.
The Buck Boosters as close as we get, apparently. A 6.5. Yes. Now newness and innovation. What would you give it for newness?
9.
Okay, Evan?
10
Okay, Joanna?
for the area.
I'll go 9.
9, John?
10, please. Oh, yeah, 91. I saw that.
And innovation?
I thought we just.
They're two different, like,
They're
is
trying
it a
something
new
different.
thing or, and they track together. They often, we can give them exactly the same for both, or,
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Myself.
Me too.
Yeah,
Okay.
same.
all right. Okay, so then we have Coconut Field restorations.
That's what needs to be done.
This was something similar was funded this year. They asked for 50,000 last year. And this looks like we have 30 that they're asking for under historical
Restoration, preservation.
and 50 under sporting events, including stadium lighting upgrades to meet City of Alpine dark skies ordinance.
Need it back.
So that's not accurate. They meet the ordinance now. They just need to turn.
Ah,
There is a,
oh, there's
They
a,
need a timer on them because they're done manually and
And they
somebody
can
just
all
goes
just
off
turn
and
'em
leaves
on
them
and
and
then
doesn't
leave 'em
turn them
on.
off. And so
so
maybe that's
there
what
is
they're
a
talking
clause
about.
in ordinance that said they can have them on for a game and then 30 minutes after they need to be off.
I see.
So they meet the ordinance now.
There were, though, I think the idea is to
Yeah.
upgrade them to make them less.
I mean, I think they
dangerous.
could be better all around. They
Yeah.
could be like pointed down now and they'd be better.
Yeah,
It's not gonna take a lot to make it better. I'm just saying that it does, that there is no requirement in the ordinance that they fix them.
gotcha. Thank you.
Chris, what did they do with the last money that they received?
They, well,
Same stuff.
they did, they did in, like,
Like, are they using the funds?
they are using the funds as appropriately to upgrade the field. What they have not successfully done is the advertising piece of it, which
They
is
didn't ask for this time though, did they?
probably not, well, I think they did it for another.
Weren't they
Am I
supposed
wrong?
to,
No,
they
it's
were
not.
supposed to make brochures and I never got one.
Right, no, they haven't done
Supporting
it.
the expenses and historical preservation.
Outfield wall restoration and painting, stadium lighting upgrades.
Yeah, and that is different, but they did do them. They sent me the invoices and showed me the included before and after photos. And so the next question is, for the purposes of scoring, the impact on hotel stays, which is likely to be modest. the difference between a
Yeah, regular
fixed
game
out,
net,
yeah, outfield wall.
Mhm.
Though it could be major if people hear about it and want to come and see it.
That's
Yeah,
true, if it's
I would
promoted.
agree with that because it's so understated right now as far as that we even have.
Well said.
I think it's one of the biggest draws we have for the area. When people find out about it, they do want to go see it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mhm.
John, what would be your estimate on impact on hotel stays?
I think it would be a 9,
Okay,
yeah, and could be better.
what about you, Evan?
Have to go with like a 7.
Okay. Heidi?
7.
7, and Joanna?
We'll go with a 7.
Okay. That gives us a 7.5. Professionalism in the application?
Squished a lot in there.
Yes.
6 for me.
Yes.
John? Oh, John's walked off. How about you, Heidi?
Whatever Aaron says, I'm sorry, I've got to run for just 2 seconds.
Okay, so John matches Evan's vote. Heidi, what do you think?
I'm gonna go. I'll go 7.
Okay, Joanna?
I'll go 7.
Okay, thank you. That puts us at,
Like in the future, I would love to see like some pictures of previous work done, some invoices from it, like it's just more information.
Before and
A lot of
afters.
money.
Yeah, before and after.
For a few little sentences, you
Yeah.
could do a little bit more.
And this is how many years have they gotten this?
this is their second.
Second year, okay. I would
I know they're
keep that for
busy.
next year. If we're here, we want before and after pictures of
Yeah.
what they did, spent the money on.
Right.
So then their capacity to
What was professionalism?
professionalism was 6.5.
Okay, thank you.
Also, can you, like, where's the information that shows where they're getting their other money from? Just, they don't have that, right?
Well,
Oh,
they show
really?
32% cost is only covered by us, which means that they have other funds coming in.
There's
Um,
places.
It could be that they're, I see over here, where did I see that at? Okay, that's the wrong one, back here. That's what I'm looking for.
They're putting in 250,000 and only asking for 80.
I would guess they're gonna look for some grants for the lights, there's grants out there for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, this is a,
like for me, to
Not
get
a
this a 10,
complete
I would
budget.
wanna have like a real
Yeah.
picture of the ability for them to.
Hopefully,
I understand that, yeah.
something like that will physically know what they did it, you would think, right? On that one, but
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, before and after pictures would be nice. So,
Yeah.
capability,
So yes, the capability,
I'm gonna go with a 6.
okay, Evan,
A 10.
10, okay. Joanna,
8.
and I'm gonna give Evan's 10 to John at his request. That's 8.5.
Diverse revenue 10.
Okay. Evan, what do you say?
There's no proof, but 10.
Joanna?
I'll do a 9.
9. John, diversity of revenues for the Coconut Field, they say 30% would come from us.
I certainly think 10 is a good score for that.
Okay. That was then 9.75. For diversity of revenues. Newness.
But
It's
by
now the second
newness,
year.
we are talking about newness to asking for
It
hotel.
can be, well, most of the time, yeah, it's newness or ideally newness to something new coming to the community, but it can be either one. Yeah, and so no points for newness innovation. Okay, so no extra points. Then we are moving on to Alpine's 4th of July celebration, which is a brand new group. Putting this on.
Oh, it's a new group, but not a new event.
Do you have Gilbert Valenzuela's contact info at all? He's
I think it's
asking
the
for
first
yours.
time this group has.
I'll get it to him later.
But, every year there's a request for this event.
Yes, it has
Is that-
always been the Kiwanis until this year, when there was a death in the family of the person who has done it for so long, and so she said, I've done enough. And so then a coalition of other groups came together to do it, and so.
Their first year.
Yes, and so, and this request is from Alpine Community Projects, which offered to kind of be the fiduciary for all the groups. And represent them for grant purposes. And they did just carry out their first event, and this is the second time.
Man, they had a big event. It was huge.
Yeah, one thing, that
Event-
it was at the
Oh,
courthouse.
they did.
Yeah, they did just at 4th of July, and what we did was we transferred the Kiwanis grant with council permission to them. This is their first application. One of the wrinkles here is that Kirsten Moody, who's president of Alpine Community Projects, was just approved by council to serve on this board.
Oh.
So I'm grateful that we're not having this conflict of interest now, but we're gonna have to resolve that before next year, one way or the other. Because we're trying to move towards not having these conflicts. That's the preference of,
Cause we just
Yeah.
said, he's gonna have to leave.
it will eventually need to happen. So, but here is Alpine Community Projects. They're looking for $6,000, $2,000 for music, $4,000 for advertising.
That's 58% of what they're gonna spend, they're saying. How much did they ask for last year in the past?
Oh,
About the same.
About the same.
Close.
yeah, a little, I think maybe a tiny bit less.
75 maybe. So we'll stand there and see if there's a problem.
Sorry.
Does not remain.
Okay. Sorry, folks, I'm having a little bit of trouble. There we go.
Yeah,
Okay,
I would agree
final
with
grant
that.
totals. One is July 4th. They asked for actually a little bit, 6,600 last year, and they're asking for 6 this year. Apology for the slow response. So the next question for you all is the impact on hotel stays that you estimate the July 4th celebration would have.
What was your answers from the hoteliers on that?
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna have to find that. Okay,
Answers from the one.
I did a
Yes.
survey.
High charge from the hotel.
About which events brought it?
Oh. that's
We sent it to the hoteliers, only like 9 people responded, but it's better than what we
Yeah.
had before.
I have a question, just if you know, they say they're gonna spend $3,500 on radio, and it's for, radio shows for outdoor oriented people with Doug Pike.
That it's a Houston talk radio. He does a podcast and broadcast. And Abby had found him, and he has been, well, it remains to be seen how effective that will be, but it's so yeah, it's got a broadcast and online, and he's interested in also promoting, like talking editorially about things happening in Alpine. So we have a beginning of a relationship there. We'll see if it develops. Like one of the things that we're looking to do is pull together a couple of hotel nights and have some giveaways that he could promote without us having to pay for it, things like that. So we could do, so if we can build that and get a decent amount of basically free exposure through him, then this investment to maintain that relationship would have bigger return than what we're looking at here. But
And he
that-
has a solid, I mean, he's well known in Houston.
I couldn't say exactly how well known. Abby was confident in was reached there.
Okay.
And she's in Houston, so I gave that the benefit of the doubt. So let me see, we're May.
I like that they're reaching out to older people who like to travel.
Mhm.
Yes, like that's a good niche to reach out to for a small town.
Agreed.
July.
I looked up the survey that I did. We had 10 responses. One came in since our last meeting. 20% of the properties said that 4th of July brings in significant business. 40% said brings in some business, so that's 60%. And then let me look specifically at Paresh, at the Holiday Inn. May, June, July, 4th of July, Hampton Holiday Inn said significant.
Okay.
So,
Overnight stays. We'll go
And
6.
do we have any data on the vacancy levels on 4th of July weekends?
don't have anything nearly as granular as that, unfortunately. I had just bought a from 2018 to February of this year hotel report,
Right.
thinking I might have a week to week or something like that, and it's 6 months. It's way better than I had, but it's still just by the whole month. And July is a bump in the
Right.
summer. So it's like June, July, August. And so we've got 4th of July and Viva in that month. And it's better. It's still, but even that, July's way lower than fall. You know, you got spring, summer, fall.
I was just wondering
Yeah.
what the vacancy actually was for that time.
Yeah,
If you needed to advertise.
right.
I mean, most of the calls we took that week leading up to it, 4th of July, were a lot of destinations that were within an easier drive, like Kermit, Odessa, Lubbock. Trying to think of who else called. It was, I put it in the after report that Kirsten had done with her little committee, like the places that had called were not as far away
Mhm.
as
That's want to make a short trip.
what comes for Viva. And it was mostly from smaller towns because like we can't compete with fireworks in the metroplex.
Yeah.
And so it was like other smaller town people that wanted to come where it was cooler or just a different 4th of July experience.
Yeah.
But
What-
it was definitely closer. It wasn't as far away as what Viva draw.
Yeah. Well, and their focus was this nostalgia,
Yeah.
nostalgic event, which might appeal to folks in small towns who want to keep that feeling. And I think their age demographic would fit with that target as well, real well. So Joanna said 6. Heidi, what do you think for impact?
I'll go, if he said significant, I'll go 8.
Okay, what do you think?
I did a 10.
Okay. John?
Give it a 4 because I think this is something that the city of Alpine should fund themselves. Not the hotel occupancy tax funds. But that's just me.
Okay. That averages to a 7. Professionalism and planning, the application, Joanna, what do you think?
She gave us a lot of numbers. She broke down as best she could, so I'll give her a 5 for that, simply because it is her first time doing
Okay, Heidi?
Can we go at all on what happened this year?
Sure, but I think that the professionalism is more about the application
Okay.
and capacity would be,
I'll go 5.
okay, Evan, what do you think?
So
6, John?
6,
That gives us 5.5. Capacity to put on the event, they did just do one,
I'm gonna say 9.
9 from Heidi, Joanna,
9.
9, John?
9,
9, Evan, what do you think?
10.
That puts us 9.25. Diversity of revenues,
That's only, they're only at, well, they're paying,
58%, she
Mhm.
said, what they're
46
looking for.
of theirs.
So what number would you put in, Joanna? 6, that's 6, Heidi?
6.
6, Evan?
The diversity of the revenue is like where we're looking for 50%.
We're looking for less than 100, for sure, and the lower the better.
Surprised how many events
And,
were
and
100.
I would say 58 is lower than average. I would put the average between 70 and 75. Okay, John?
5.
Okay. 6.5. Diverse revenues. Anything new you want to reward with extra points?
I like that they have found this niche of people to target. I think that's really smart.
Okay,
So I'd like to.
okay. So, how many extra points under newness for that idea? Actually, let's put that in innovation. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Because I would, do you all agree that the event itself, now they did adjust it this year to this new vision? And so this year's was quite new, and some of that afterglow of newness might carry over to next year, but what do you think? Would you give it extra points for that?
They moved it. It was more, I guess, community oriented. It being there where they were at the courthouse, it was quite crowded. Yeah, I can reply for that.
5, okay. Heidi, would you give them newness points for this year? This upcoming year?
I'll go 5.
Okay, Evan, what do you think?
2 for newness.
Okay, John?
I think actually a 7 is appropriate considering that they made it. They were willing to change, I guess, and my cat
Okay.
agrees, who just jumped in my lap.
I know that is a 1, I think, of that.
That's
cat
right.
Pointing the, oh yeah, you can't see his cat's tail, sorry. It's like it's going straight up as a number 1. Okay, now, Evan, you wanted to give them some innovation points for the targeting? How many?
It's still like 10.
Yeah,
I like it. It's like an 8 for me.
okay.
What was the score for new?
For new, sorry, it was 4.75. You want to give them some innovation points?
Heather, did you get feedback about the 4th of July this year?
From,
Community people?
they were confused. I think, I told Kirsten in like the posting, I think that they should have just like really owned that we picked this new location, because I still had people coming into visitor center, asking like what time the parade was, and I said 10:30 in the morning. They're like, no, it's always in the evening. It's always at 5 o'clock. And then they didn't believe me that like there was nothing to park. I had 2 people private message me that night asking where the park stuff was, like to my messenger. So I think that that was like their fault. They should have just like said, we picked this new location, let's, and it was on their poster, but and their poster didn't do well in any social media posts, but the pictures of that I took on the Monday before of the courthouse lawn all decorated, that did really well. It got shared a whole bunch, and like, because it looked pretty and it looked very nostalgic. So that did that way better to get the word out about the event.
Yeah, this was too cram.
That's what I told him. I said,
Too busy.
Chris does a lot of times, like puts a page, makes a landing page on our website with all that kind of detail, and the poster has less stuff on it. I also told him that I think the vendors need to be in a different spot next year. Like we were so far on that side, like some people never even walked over the vendors. Plus, like the things were like one right after another. So it's one thing after another, like they didn't have that much time to just mill around, because it was like, we're gonna do the band this time, and then we're gonna do this picture, and then we're gonna do this choir thing, and then we're gonna do this hot dog eating contest, and then we're gonna do this war, we're gonna do this. Like it was, so I think that spacing it out would have been better for a little more downtime. That was kind of, but yeah, locals did not accept the change. They were like, they were very confused about
Yeah.
that it changed.
It was like a new Facebook
Yeah,
design, yeah.
yeah, that was hard for, and it's, as like older people come to the visitor center and ask those questions of us, it's not like my age group. Older people come in for their free paper.
Okay.
So what do you think? Any innovation points? You're not required to, either way.
I think so, because they were trying to entertain people on the 4th of July. I mean,
They have really good ideas of stuff to
Mhm.
add for next year. too.
yes,
In their posts, they had a lot like, and I think it would be a cool feel to it, like kind of county fair style type stuff.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I just
have a pie, like a baking contest of some kind, and like, that kind of thing. And I told them if they do that, like I would take on doing those as a farmer's market.
That would bring
that-
so many people.
But you also realize that next year they're competing with Fridays. It's a Friday, so it will be definitely conflicting with Fort Davis again. There'll be more conflicts with the date next year too. There's that, because that was something that Fort Davis decided to do theirs on the 4th this year. Usually they never do the 4th, they do the
weekend.
So there was that. And I imagine Skeleton will probably do their thing again next year because it was huge Friday and Saturday. They had tons of people that barbecue cook off, but they did Friday and Saturday. It was a packed house those days. So I think that there'll be more conflicts.
Okay. But what? about
Innovative,
innovation?
I'm gonna go with a 7.
With a 7? Joanna, what do you think?
Mm. 5.
Okay, John, you want to give them innovation points?
Absolutely a 7. I like the fact that they're trying to change and enhance.
Yeah, that's 6.75. And then we move on to Alpine Cowboys baseball. And so we're pretty familiar with this as the community anyway. They estimated 1,500 people throughout the season using Alpine hotels.
The season they're having this year, they should, for next year. They're doing having a great season.
Would any of you like to give a number for impact on hotel stays for?
Do we have, like real data on how many people actually do come, like from last season?
We don't, no, not explicitly.
The
I
attendance
did-
for 4th of July was the largest 4th of July attendance they've ever had, over 900 and something.
For the baseball?
I think that's what the
It was
posted
huge.
said.
We were there for it. It was packed.
It was a double header too.
Yeah, there was nowhere to sit.
Kristen sent me a letter. Let's see. She said it was very well attended. They averaged 500 fans per game, and at least 45% were from out of town. How they track that, I don't know. We had fans tell us they planned their vacation around the Alpine
The other
Cowboys.
teams have-
They do, yeah, right? The visiting teams hosted at Value Lodge. Average per day during our home series were 10 rooms.
They do like a block that
Yeah.
hotels get.
I think
paid
they're
a
staying
block.
over at Amigo this year, though.
I think that may be,
Yeah, they are, because
Yeah, they are.
Chris
Staying where?
Amigo, the hotel over here, the
City Place.
City Place, whatever he calls it now, but
Right.
it's the restaurant there, and because I know they are staying there. My son works over there. He just. But they stay, yeah, they're taking up, I don't know how many rooms he's got up
They got
there.
18 rooms.
right, so they estimate, but just under 250 out-of-town people per game.
Per game.
They do pull
Mhm.
the parents to come in to see the guys from the out of town to play, because
The Cowboys have the biggest team. The other teams are all smaller, like as far as players go, but yeah, there's at least.
but the cumulative.
Right, there's
yeah.
at least like 40 players, right? Usually, I don't know.
No, I don't think there's 40 players.
It seems like
I
there's
think there's probably 20 to 25
Okay.
players. But the
But if they each
player,
have
a lot of
family-
them will have some family, not all, but some will have family come in. Because they all,
Yeah, we have families.
yeah,
for
they come in and family for the Cowboys that are here visiting to see them play. So
Yes.
So what number would you,
I'd absolutely give it a 10.
10?
Mhm,
Heidi?
For hotel stays.
I'm going 7.
7, okay, Evan?
I think it's, an 8 for them.
Okay, John?
I will give them an 8 and I'll tell you, I mean, a 9, and I will tell you why. Because my cousin Sandy, who lives in Salem, Oregon, we were talking the other day and he said, do those Cowboys still play baseball in that really great stadium? Somebody was
Yeah.
listening, yeah.
They're
And I
getting more
believe the law says that the second an out-of-town person crosses the city a line, they become a tourist. So isn't the opposing team all tourists?
All of them, yes.
Yeah.
I like to switch mine to 9 too.
Okay. That was from 8. They're at 8.75. And next, professionalism.
Oops. You-
John, what do you think?
9.
9 from John,
And
9, maybe?
I can go with that.
I know what to say.
I don't know.
Okay, that is straight up 9. Capacity to put on an event. I think they've been doing it a little while, but what do you say, John?
10.
10, 11,
same.
and Heidi?
Sure.
Doing it? Okay,
Sorry, Heidi.
that's one of the rare. Okay, then they asked for less than 25% of their costs are coming from this grant. So Joanna, what number would you give them for diversity?
Give it 8.
Okay, Heidi,
Go 9.
Evan,
9.
9, John?
9 as well, thank you.
Okay, that's 8.75. Newness,
Mm-mm.
any points for newness from anyone? What about innovation?
No.
Okay, they do have a lot of points that aren't extra, so I think they're doing okay. Then we move on to Viva Big Bend.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm looking at the application.
Does he have a marketing plan?
He expects, he does have a marketing plan. He estimates 1,300 attendees in Alpine hotels for 3.7 nights.
How many rooms do you have here again?
We have,
700 and some beds, right?
including short-term rentals, probably.
He's saying 650 rooms.
God,
Yeah, hotel rooms,
But
that's
they
right.
do sell
Because they're
out.
staying for so many nights.
Right, yeah, but
You
they
can't-
do.
You can't get a room right now.
Um,
There's very few left.
mhm.
Nicer.
And so given what we know at this point, John, what would you say for impact?
10, I think it should be 10 across the board. They do a fabulous job.
Okay, so John has a standing 10. Evan, what do you say for impact for Viva Big Bend?
yeah, 10 is good.
Okay, Heidi?
If it's already booked, 10.
Okay. Professionalism with the application, John? No, John has a 10. Evan?
Also 10.
Okay, Heidi?
Mhm. Mhm.
Sure. Capacity to put on the event. I know John's is a 10. Joanna?
Mhm.
Heidi?
They can do it. Yeah, look what their
Yes.
lineup is this year.
Okay, and diverse revenues, he says. 20%, less than 20%.
Yeah. I
Wow.
saw that.
What was it last year for diversity program? Is it going down progressively per year, or they
Right.
kind of always ask for this?
They, in terms of dollars, he's gone slightly up over time, very slightly and slowly, but I don't know top of my head. I'd have to dig up the application to see it. John gives a 10. Did you give your number, Joanna? For
we-
diversity, it was less than
yeah.
20%?
No, yeah, well, I'll look at it.
Okay, Heidi, Evan, what do you say? Can't be a clean sweep. Wouldn't be right. Okay, 9.75. Units, innovation, okay. So next is Texas Tour 90. This one is a challenge because it is so new and so innovative that it's gonna be very difficult to tell
Pete, thanks.
how it will work. It's so I met with Nadine Manhart. And her idea is to provide information resources about our area for touring musicians, to encourage more musicians to be able to come out here to play, basically help them with booking information, lodging information, etc. And so she's looking for funds to
Sounds like that'd be really great for that app that the city was trying to make or thinking about making.
Yes.
I have to say that this sounds like something that, if you'll pardon me, should be funded through the Alpine Tourism Council and the Big Bend Tourism Council and the visitor centers, rather than hot funds, because it feeds backwards, not the other way around. They're not really putting heads in beds. They're just saying, hi, we're here, come.
Mhm. I have a little bit of concern about, let's see, where did she put the request? Was it under? All right, I don't have every page of her application in my scan. Now let me look
I
at,
think I do, if you want.
yeah, I just need to know the categories that you, of her request. And let me see.
She asked for, she marked promotion of the arts and she marked advertising,
But she didn't put percents in.
the dollar.
Okay, I put in 20, it was,
You
no,
put
that's not right.
17.
The amount requested says 10,000, 5 for graphics for the web and 5,000 for advertising, so I guess.
Right,
Thinking
and
the
so-
graphics for the web are.
That's promotion of the arts, because that's fine with me, because it is directly towards the performing arts that's intended to end at music happening, so that's fine.
Is that how expensive graphics for a website are?
Chris is more expensive than that, what are you talking about?
Huh?
Yeah.
Chris is more expensive than
But
that.
Depending on the website, it wouldn't just be the graphics, it would be the
Maintaining the
layout.
website,
Yeah.
building it. and being.
But I would just like to say that she's not using $5,000 to promote an event. Much like, so I hate to say it, the Big Bend Film Commission, which makes it kind of weird
Yeah,
in that respect. I really value what they're doing, but I think the director of tourism ought to stand up and get his checkbook out. Good luck on that, right? But I think this is necessary for the community, that they should be able to say, look, we're doing this and this and this, and y'all come. It's be like a calendar. I think it's a great idea.
agreed. Now, presuming that it
But
actually.
she wants to drive people down to Terlingua too, and it's a Big Bend isn't listed on here as a other partner, but Marathon Chamber of Commerce is, but they're giving them 500.
Right, well, and that's Visit Big Bend money. And so that if one of those chambers did, Visit Big Bend wouldn't, because it's their money that they're giving. You know, because those chambers are
The
funded.
dollar comparison, that was
Hmm,
10,500. There's a big difference.
right. But in terms of, yeah,
Does it put heads in beds?
very indirectly. You know, the band, like we'd said about the baseball team, you know, those bands coming through will stay in hotels. That's a small number of hotels. It depends on how many bands come through.
And
If-
fans always try to get free lodging.
It's true.
Always poor.
So the best argument for it would be if it's tremendously successful and a lot more musicians are coming through and playing, that the destination becomes more attractive to people to come and listen to that music.
I
So
agree
it's
with that.
it's yeah, I'm not saying it wouldn't happen. That's our best case argument. It is pretty indirect.
But that's like the argument that Dave Busey has always made of like, if people come here and there's stuff going on.
They want to come
they wanna
back.
Come back,
Yeah.
and they have a better experience, like, cause whenever, you know, like you said, the museum being up the Mondays when they're not open, it's like really hard to tell people things to do. You know, so I think that it's kind of the same thing, like if you come to town right now and there like before the Ritchie was back open, when there was like nothing, when there's nothing going on in town in the evening, it's not as enjoyable of an experience for a visitor. So if this really works and gets more bands here,
Mhm.
you know, I think that would be great for the Ritchie, for the Social, for Amigo, or other like venues that host them.
So
And the city doesn't offer a website for people to be like, rental venues or places for bands to play or anything.
not explicitly, that is something that is kind of another thing that's on
And
my
bands wouldn't
plate.
just automatically like go on Google and search up every single bar in the town and be like, hey.
They would.
Call them up one by one.
Well,
would.
Can we
you have to-
play at your place?
you kind of have to look at it from the perspective of actually what Rick said the other day about, people coming in even for tourism and stuff like that, and to get Alpine off the map. We are, most places, like all of these, and she's got her little map, you're gonna go an hour and you're gonna hit a town or whatever. Here, you might hit Fort Stockton in an hour, but it's gonna take from Fort Stockton past that to here several hours just to get you out to Alpine, and then it's only a small community, so you have to sort of look at that and go, I mean, I think it's great because I think we have this little cocoon right here that if you could just keep it going and people would want to come out here. So I really see value in what she's trying to do, and I would at least give her a shot at trying to do it, because I really think we need that shot in the arm out here right now.
I mean,
But you have to get people to want to drive all those hours to come out here too.
And so the question is, your best guess on the actual impact on hotel stays, if there is a directory of venues and lodging for traveling musicians for the whole of US 90, basically.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
only gave it
I'd
1 or
say
2
it's a-
days, but eventually it
yeah.
could build.
Eventually it could. My
she
guess
wants
is
to include everything though from El Paso to Beaumont on her website.
right. So my guess is modest at best, but we just need a number to put on the score.
I'll give her a 2.
Okay. What do you think, Joanna?
I'm going 7.
7. Okay.
Maybe she'll stay in her room, which is.
I think she's living in Marathon, actually.
We're gonna put a 1 on.
1. Okay, John?
Give it a 3 and really hope it works, and I really think it should be funded somewhere else.
Yes. And there's no reason that that this score, if somebody gets a low score for various reasons, that's not a reason for you not to fund it. Like I said, it's just a tool.
What was the score on that?
3.25 average. What about professionalism of the application?
I'll say a 3 if you need somebody to say something, because she's still
$5,000
learning.
Expenses for a website?
A lot.
Oh, she's looking at salaries, marketing. Advertising.
And the guy on the list. He's what's down there.
John, what do you say for
No
professionalism?
extra.
5.
5. Okay, we got a 5 from John. Evan? Professionalism?
It's, oh, 5. Okay.
I'm gonna do 4,
Okay. Joanna? 6. Okay.
because this is a 2-year timeline and marketing plan too. So
I wonder how she plans to continue funding.
That's a
this
good
as
question.
it goes.
Maybe
I don't
she's
see
hoping
any
to
of
pick
that.
up advertising.
On the website.
What was the total on it?
Yeah.
That was 5 average. What about capacity to execute? We have
We don't know.
nothing to go on. Yeah.
0.
So
This is like, looking at someone's business plan, like,
it is. So what kind of confidence do you have from looking at these papers? Because that's what she has given you to work with.
I'm gonna give her a 5, because I'm
Okay.
thought of it.
Heidi?
I'd like to see it. We need it in
her
the area.
proposal looks good. 5.
Okay. Evan?
3.
3. John?
I gotta say, I wanna do a 0 because she doesn't need capacity for doing anything. We've got plenty of it.
Okay.
I don't know how else to vote it.
Okay. That's a
Bring
3.
newness in instead of the
25.
same bands inside all the
It's
time.
certainly new and innovative. Okay, diversity of revenues. Oh, sorry, that was 3.25 average.
Well, she was looking at 50 something total.
Yeah, I don't have that. there, so-
55,000 total, and she's asking us
This
for
is
10.
17.8 according to her numbers. which, but at least it's not the whole thing.
Like it literally feels like to me that she just filled out random numbers at any whim because like domains are more than $10 a year.
Hmm.
And so I just don't feel like a lot of work went into this, printed out the map and colored it. And then wrote in a bunch of stuff and asked for like quite a bit of money. So, I don't feel like it, there's a proof of diversity, just someone writing in a number is not, she didn't specify where she's getting her money from.
That's-
It's 500 from
It's
there.
all, it's very true. It's very true. If this is unproven, to say the least. We don't have a track record. We have some,
Road less traveled. I
Could
know.
this not parlay though eventually into, partnering with Viva? Big Ben.
potentially. She
Well, I
hasn't
see that.
indicated that interest, but it could happen.
I mean, it could, because you're building, you're going out, you're finding other bands outside the area.
Skipper takes 4 calls a day from band one.
Well,
All
I'm
year
not-
long.
but
He's
I'm
like-
not
just
saying-
like, he doesn't have a shortage of bands. There's no, he doesn't have a problem finding
Well,
bands.
again,
Yeah,
but those bands could then be parlayed to her and could be brought into the area on other times.
Okay.
So that's what I see, and I do see, you know, unless we have a special event going on, they struggle with getting some in from outside the area here.
That's true.
I know,
it is.
and so there you go,
I'd say it usually just because
at
our
least,
places can't pay what.
Yeah.
well, but if they had more revenue from people coming through because there's different bands, possibly they could. You don't know till you try it. So I'm gonna give her,
For diversity.
I'm gonna go 8 on diversity.
Okay, Heidi?
I'm gonna go 5. Just because it's the Marathon Chamber of Commerce and then the website developer is gonna, I
I
guess,
didn't
donate
understand that. Is he paying
15,000.
50 for the website? Oh,
No, she has him marked as getting paid 15 for the website development.
But
it
That's the
says that-
cost.
Oh,
Is he giving an in-kind for part of the contract?
I'm gonna go 4.
Okay. And then
I
what do you
don't
say?
know. It doesn't say where that's coming from.
2.
Okay, John,
Two,
what was that again?
sorry.
Thank you. There's a party started next door. And things all the easier to hear.
So what was that score?
That is a 4. Okay, newness.
No one's tried it before.
There's no question it's new.
10.
Okay, John says 10. Evan and Heidi say, oh,
I give it a
wrong.
10.
Okay, so you have 2 10s and 2 8s, I believe. That puts us at 9 for newness. Innovation,
10.
10. Evan,
5.
5. Heidi,
5, the website.
okay.
I like my camera.
That is 7.5. And then we have Alpine Comic Con.
Can I say something about the Comic Con?
Certainly.
All over the world, Comic Cons are huge things. And there's no reason that a Comic Con in the middle of the Big Bend couldn't eventually turn into something really terrific on the order of Viva Big Bend. So if we can get behind and push and help. So that's what I wanted to say.
That worked really well, me turning my speaker on my computer, but we're gonna have to like do like over, you know, so none of us can talk while you're talking, but we could hear you really well.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so do they have an estimate for their host? They expected 500 attendance in the first year. Now, the Big Bend Comic Con was done on campus for several years. And I'd be very surprised if they ever hit 500. So the question then, the difference might be with the Magical Warehouse people, because they are pretty plugged into the fandoms and the gaming community. So if they have that network to get the word out, which I don't know if they do or not, if they do, then it's possible that they could send out those invitations more effectively than Sol Ross anime club could. So I'm just saying, track record for Comic Cons, the ones that we've had is not what they're claiming, but that doesn't mean it's impossible.
We have that new store opening too in the Jack Bow building
Mhm.
that's gonna be doing the
Same thing.
gaming, yeah.
Okay,
What do you mean, gaming?
like Magic the
It's the
Gathering
Magic the
kind of
Gathering
thing,
and
card
stuff like that.
Dungeons and
role
Dragons
playing.
Oh,
crowd.
it's like a
board games.
gaming room for.
Dungeons and Dragons crowd. That's what I would.
So
I'm missing a page, because there's that, you had the magical warehouse, and I cannot find that.
yeah,
So I look at it, I was like, what do you think? Yes, sir.
Here, do you want this?
No, you're fine, thank you, Mary. That's what I was missing. What are they asking for?
$30,000.
Whoa.
I already read.
but our question is, what's our best guess based on what they're telling us for impact on the hotel industry for Alpine? Let me,
I think probably they'll get 500 if they have some way to get a big name,
yeah,
a big artist
or an
or
actor,
an actor.
yeah.
That's the only way they're gonna get the.
So I'm gonna turn John on and ask what he thinks. John,
You know, I absolutely agree if they can get a big actor, but they're not going to be able to do that unless they have a lot of money to bring them in. But that's the right kind of thinking, you know, and cosplay is a big deal these days. So advertisement in this case and the ability to last over a number of years to get the promotion up. I mean, you can just ask Art Walk or Viva Big Bend how long that took.
so what number would you give them for impact?
Oh boy, a 3. Sorry.
We have 1-3 from John. What would you say?
7 for this one.
Okay, Heidi?
3.
3. John, and another 3. So that averages out to 4.
I just don't really feel like it'd be that hard to contact people that are into cosplay, because the ones that are like very open about it, especially on Facebook and Instagram. So doing a social media push to attack them, I feel like they're searching for more places to go dress up,
Yeah,
you know?
well, let's hope
Where can
so.
we go?
Now professionalism of the application, Evan, what would you say? Okay, Heidi?
I think they really did a good job with the info, so I'm gonna give them a 7.
Joanna? 4.
I'll agree with that 7. I think that they're going in the right direction and cross my fingers.
Okay, thank you, John. That brings us to 5.5 for professionalism.
Chris, you're gonna help them, right? Like, help them to look outside of El Paso and love it.
I'll do my best. It varies as to how proactively I'm able to reach out to every applicant. And so I always have that intention, and in practice, a lot of the time they come to me and we work together. And so I'll say I'll try, and hopefully they'll also come to me, and that will help me ensure that I'm doing that.
Because when I read their application and then I see what cities or demographics, they just quickly said all of West Texas. and
They're
West
also under a
love
really
it.
tight. They're planning this the first week of November. They don't get any funds for the advertising. So
And they're wanting 100% apparently, because they didn't put a percentage up here at all.
But then also on this application question, because that's the one that we're doing right now, is it's like, how many people do you propose that your marketing will reach? And 1,000 is a very low number.
That's very true, especially if you're in any social media, you're
I
gonna
think
be
they
hitting-
probably have to understand.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like they don't have a clear understanding of what they're actually doing.
yeah.
And this application reflects that. Like, they wrote a nice paragraph, like a college student wanted, but like the actual experience is shown through this application.
And that raises the question of your confidence in their capacity to put on the event. And what number would you give them for that, Evan?
A 5
Okay, Heidi?
with your help.
Sorry,
I'm gonna go 6.
okay, Joanna,
I'm gonna go.
John,
6.
that brings them to 5.25 for capacity. Diversity of revenues. Pretty, does it,
Zero.
John, do you disagree?
No,
Okay, so no points for diversity. Newness,
10. Okay, 9.
okay, John says 9, Evan says
10.
10, Heidi?
I'm gonna give it an 8 because we did have Big Ben.
Okay, Joanna?
I'll go 6.
Okay. That is 8.25. The newness, innovation, John?
I want to give them a 9 just because I think it's a gutsy call.
Okay,
Where are they gonna hold this?
Yeah, they're just
That's
saying.
the
big
kitchen
house
house.
town.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kish.
That doesn't hold 500 people. I guess it's over multiple days. They hope to have.
Artist alley, workshops, costume contests, you know, Kishmish, and he's not gonna give Kishmish away for free. So
So part of
They
their
work
thing
together
was
a lot on stuff though. They do the haunted house there. Like he does a lot of stuff.
yeah, I
You
have a
guys
relationship.
I had, my kids are little. I didn't go to it. It's like, I didn't think.
Scary, scary.
I didn't go to it.
Evan, what do you say for innovation?
It's not innovation.
Okay.
0.
Then nothing, okay, Heidi?
I'm gonna go 4.
Okay, Joanna? Okay. That puts us at 4.25 for innovation, and that brings us to the Center for Big Bend Studies annual conference. This definitely brings people into town, I can tell you that. Then now, how many? They expect attendance of 200 people, 80% of whom would be from out of town.
They've
And
been
it's a-
steadily increasing post-COVID.
And it's a 2-day event.
Like I've been making more bags every year
Okay,
and they have the numbers on them.
so given that, does anyone have an estimate or impact they'd like to give?
6.
6 from John. 6 from Heidi.
Wish I had read all this last meeting. You know. Yeah, I'll go 5
Okay,
if they're 200 people.
But 160 are non-local. Most of them are mostly their own students and university people.
Which are living on campus.
Right, but the most, so out of 200, 160 come from somewhere else.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I see what you're saying.
Then the other 40 are just like their own, their people. Very-
or local people are.
Yeah, it's not that many local people like go to this.
This wasn't in
Year
your
after year.
eyes, was it?
Hmm?
This wasn't in your graphs, was it?
Yes, would have been.
I don't think you asked about this one.
No,
No, you asked about more.
November.
We didn't-
No, I did.
Oh,
And Hampton said it brings some business. Let me look at their summary. Scroll through the year. Okay, 60% of the 10 responses said it brings some, 10%, so one of them said significant.
what one said significant? I'm just curious where they.
Yeah, where are they staying at?
That's gonna take a while to find.
Yeah,
It's probably the Quality Inn or something like that.
no, probably not. I would guess actually, I bet a lot of them do like the Holland and
Or they might have RV.
Maverick.
It could have been Antelope or something. that-
Yeah,
Yeah,
Super romantic event for like people who love old storytelling and want to bring that back or pay homage to
it's
it.
very academic.
so we have,
I'll give it an 8.
yeah, okay, so that puts us at 6.25 for impact on stays. Professionalism of the application, John?
5.
tried to unmute you, but I failed. Okay, 5. Evan?
10, absolutely. They like itemize every single thing, give feedback to previous year and have a detailed marketing plan. That's very organized and professional, page number and everything.
Okay. Heidi, what do you say?
Yeah, I'll give them an 8.
Change mine to 8 as well, please.
Okay,
8.
and an 8. That puts them at 8.5. For professionalism, capacity to put on an event. This is their 30th.
This is a really short timeline too, because it's happening in November.
Yeah,
Unless they've already, well,
but in this case, their capacity to do the event.
It's the same weekend as Comic-Con.
Comic-Con was,
So they're all gonna
I have to go back
cosplay
to that.
as prospectors.
Seriously,
and-
that's what she said, people. I should do a prospector comment on.
Yeah. John, capacity?
10,
Okay, that makes some sense to me, but Evan, what do you say?
10.
10,
10.
Heidi? Okay, so they got 10 across.
what was the
board.
professionalism?
Professionalism number was 8.25. Capacity was 10, diversity of revenues. They say 32%.
there when they've done it long enough,
Yeah.
I'd give them a 9 on that.
Do they ask for the same amount every time?
They don't act every
They
year.
didn't, they missed the debt. Yeah, it was one of those, they have new staff this year, and the person who was doing it last year emailed the application like just at 5, and Gio didn't get it before he left the office, and it didn't get, but
That was actually 2 years ago.
was
They
it
didn't ask
2?
for
And then they
anything.
didn't ask it all last year?
Cause I think that she had left, right?
That may be. The story was so memorable.
Yeah.
It seemed fresh in my mind.
How do they typically raise money during this event? Like, do they sell things? Do they sell tickets?
They take donations for sure. They fundraise during it. And
Are they headed
They-
towards sustainability, or will they continue to rely on?
So they have the last 2 years.
yeah, I don't think that any of the applications that you're looking at are moving away from grant funding.
But it was established a couple years ago, like a few years ago, right, that this was not necessarily supposed to be seed money. Like,
Right. That has it
been discussed and.
different like council members and things like over time have said, well, what is this fund for? And there's kind of equal arguments on either side for, because when a previous city manager actually put a policy in place to do like a 3-year phasing out, you could do cycles, and a lot of the events were really, it was an existential thing for them, because so it comes down to the city in general uses the fund to ongoing ensure that we have good events through the year, regardless of, it's not like we have so many possible events that we could then replace them or whatever. I don't know. So in terms of diversity of revenues, what do you say, Evan? They're at
still-
32%.
would be, 6.
Okay.
8.
8, Joanna?
8.
8. That puts us at 7.75. With that, newness
Mm-mm.
nor innovation. Yeah. Okay, so this next
But
one.
I would
Yes,
like to
please.
give it some innovation points.
Okay.
Because it is an innovative program that doesn't happen in many other cities at all. So, if you look at the entire region, it is an innovative program that other cities aren't. doing.
Right, it's innovative though on the long term, because it's been going on a long time.
But
Yeah, it's still
that's
innovating,
the question of newness.
right?
One's
No, that's a good
fundamental,
point.
one's
That's-
innovative or not.
Sure. Yeah, you can do. So what would you like to give it?
I would like to give it a 9 for innovation.
Okay. You guys feel the same? John, you want to give it? Sorry.
9,
One.
9, did you hear me?
I
Chris?
didn't, then I did. Okay, so that
Okay.
gives 4.5. Let me find that.
You retyped the whole thing into the telephone to find the first one.
So now we're looking at the Ritchie, there's 4 left. We're looking at the Ritchie Concert Hall.
This is another November. November 29th.
Hmm,
Grand opening event.
How can they get it done between now and?
And the answer is, I don't see how. But I guess one would look at the primary request here is the back deck to allow a fire exit to make that space usable in the way that they're requesting. And that is a historical expense because it's an historical building, even though this enables that historical building to be used in this way that it wasn't before. It's an open question. So here's the question for in terms of impact. Do you think that now the Ritchie right now, the crown moves around from property to venue. For a long time, it was Old Gringo that was giving live music every weeknight. For a long time, they carried that torch. Right now, it's Ritchie since Mateo started managing that bar. He's booking live music almost every night of the week. And so he's bringing in a lot. He's got strong relationships in Austin and other places. So he's bringing a lot of traveling bands. And so
Like
that
the Swifts just came, right? And people,
That's Chris, that's not out.
that's you?
that's me.
You know, some girl was telling me about that in Mateo's coffee shop, and I think she must have been new to town. She's like, the Swifts are coming. I was like, isn't that a pretty big band?
Well, okay.
It's not
Thought
the
it was.
Swifties. You're not
No,
gonna-
but there was, okay, when we picked the name, there was a band like in Seattle that but it seemed like they'd broken up. And so we were like, well, we're not gonna go touring, so that doesn't matter. But it seemed like they're broken up. The local band I play with, yes.
That's cool.
They are very cool, but it's funny that they thought they
Yeah.
were out of
I
town.
love it. But so anyway, so then the question is, right now, this place is a real tourism asset.
It is, it's a draw.
And
Agreed.
if that upper space were open for indoor music, it expands the seating, the time of year that
Absolutely, yeah.
they can, if it rains, there's a legitimate space to play instead of the little back room with the French doors open. So the question is, what impact do you think adding an indoor performance space to an active venue would have on Alpine's hotel industry?
Band's there. Be in line with the Texas 490.
They go together pretty good.
So what kind of number would you want to give that, Evan?
So they want to build a deck.
They want to build a back deck, which I think it enables a fire exit because there's a front entrance right now to that room. And then if there's a problem, it's an
Yeah,
alternate
yeah.
exit that enables them to be able to use it.
I think it's
Income.
cool, and to reference another city that has funded public spaces to be used and rented. Alpine or Austin did fund like a huge conference center that was funded by HOP funds.
Mhm.
So this could be like similar to that in thinking
Good.
to other cities, just as an example. So I'll give it a 10.
Okay. Heidi, what do you think?
I'm gonna go 5.
5. Okay. Joanna?
I'll do an 8.
An 8. John?
I agree with Aaron, 10.
We have an 8.25 for impact professional and planning of the application. Joanna, what do you think?
Give it an 8 on that.
Okay, Heidi?
They gave a lot of
Oh,
information.
sorry.
It's radio and. Let's see. I'm gonna go with a 6.
You think?
Yes.
John?
8.
That gives us a 7. Capacity. Yeah.
It's more than
Depends on the
just
sheet you're looking at.
Oh.
this person, it's the ability to get it built.
Well, David Keller is the builder, right? He's built.
He's
lots of
the,
houses
he's
in Red-
overseeing the job, yeah, and he is the one who has overseen all the work.
He's
in the
seen a
building
lot of
today.
this work. He's done a really great job, especially in Redford and.
He's
everything.
an Adobe expert.
Yeah, he's an Adobe expert.
Mhm.
He
So
redid,
this-
he redid the Swan House.
We'll be right back, Chris.
That was a huge project. And he's like very experienced.
So what do you want to do then?
I
For
give it a
capacity,
10.
a 10 for capacity. Heidi,
Excellent.
7.
okay, Joanna? And John?
That bathroom has no insulation.
They have to give him Evan's number. It's a Steve.
So we need to find a way to get that heat is dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. So
That's an
have an update on that.
8.5.
There is a huge exhaust fan. I can hit you up with that right after.
Diversity of
I don't think
buildings.
So me, but we need to.
Well, that's what I mean.
Okay, all right, let me go back. All right,
By
sorry,
the
Gideon.
full cost of the grand opening event and associated advertising. Although it does say above it, the hotel tax support would provide approximately half of the full restoration costs of the rear upstairs room, with the remaining costs to be matched by the Hotel Ritchie. So it's a
Okay.
little kind of, I'm looking at it going, oh, that's a little confusing.
Yeah, but it seems like
So
for
of the
the,
25, of the 20,500, that's half of the cost of
Yeah.
the renovation.
Mhm.
And then the other one is,
so 50%.
The full cost of the event, I guess, is what they're saying. I mean, I'll give them an 8 on that.
Okay, Heidi?
what did they ask for the $1,500 out of advertising?
That's for a total of 22,000.
Right, but 1,500 of it for the actual event, what category did they ask for that out of?
So you got bartenders,
That's
chair
what I think. I
rental.
think some of that wouldn't qualify, that's why I was asking.
I don't mean to interrupt. John, do you have a radio or something going on in the background?
It's in the civic center.
It's not music, it's like a talk show, it's like someone just talking.
No,
Might be when he turns his on so we can talk to
Oh,
John.
no,
and
that
or
would-
something else, okay?
That makes
hang on a second.
just really weird.
I just muted my microphone. Did that turn it
Looks
off?
like we had 500 for advertising and 1,000 for promotion of the arts for that other 50.
Is that what you're talking about?
So. The band payout would be 500, but did you see that other part of the budget?
Let's see. Five.
Like that's chair rentals. They didn't think we could pay for things like that. We can't pay for trash, we can't pay for.
Well, if it's associated with music, it's possible, but our big question right
Right now,
now
yeah.
is diversity of revenue.
So
So we
they're
have,
asking for full funding of the event.
but they're asking for like,
It's 50%.
I don't know for sure the event is actually gonna happen, so I would focus personally on the restoration project.
But then doesn't that make this application not true?
He's saying just one-time kickoff event. The room will be used all the time.
Yeah,
He's just, they're saying there's gonna be like a grand opening of it.
Right.
So
but in terms of the total cost of the entire grant application and what they're asking for is about half.
20,500 is half of what his cost of what his restoration cost is, and that's what he's asking for. And then the other 1,500 is the full cost of his grand opening.
Right. And so that sense, the tiniest piece of the grant has very poor diversity, but the grant overall is about 50%.
Five for that.
Okay, what do you think?
I'm gonna go 4.
Okay, Joanna, what do you think?
8.
Okay. That is 6.25. Newness. John, what do you think for newness?
It's 0. It's a remodel.
Okay.
To the oldest commercial building in Alpine.
I give it a 10
Okay,
for new.
a new use of an old space. Heidi, what do you think?
0.
Okay. Joanna?
I'll split the difference into a 5.
Okay. 3.75 for newness innovation. Evan?
0.
Okay.
0.
Heidi? Joanna?
Well, it's never had a band up there before, so I'll give it a 9.
Okay. John, what do you think for innovation?
9. It's an
9.
innovative, good idea.
That is 4.5 averaged out. Now we go to the tech 3 more, and then we actually start looking at
Then
numbers.
we actually get to look at the numbers.
I
Good
know.
grief.
Okay,
Can we do another
Yeah.
meeting on that?
I wish. Ordinarily, yeah.
On our backs against the wall.
The numbers are gonna go fast.
Which one are we doing?
Cowboy Poetry Gathering is next.
Impact on
Which
hotel
we
stays.
know overnight stays. You should have your graph on that one real easy.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
And
I
it
should
should
pull
be
that
high.
up.
Yeah, it should be really good. This should be an easy one to
Summary.
do.
February, there we go. 50% said significant business, 40% said some business, that's a total of 90%.
Yeah,
Now in terms of specifically Hampton Holiday Inn,
Should be full.
it brings significant business to the Hampton and Holiday Inn.
I'll give it a 9. I'll go 10.
Okay, we have a
10.
9 and a 10 and a 10, and John
And a 10.
and a 10.
We really need someone to build an RV park with.
Yeah.
A new RV park.
Blue water.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone will ever stay here.
It would be so hard to get your
What
RV
was that?
there.
9.75.
It would be so-
Okay, so then professionalism of the application, John?
9.
The 9, sorry, 9, John.
9.
Oh, that was
Evan,
9
Heidi?
9.
9,
I'll go 10.
9.25.
Next one, 10.
Joanna? John?
10.
It's tricky to hit that button at the right time. Okay,
The diversity is like 20, was it 20 something percent? I saw that.
we have 24.19%
Yeah.
for diversity.
Yeah.
What number you want to get?
10.
10.
Sure, 10.
8.
8. John, for diversity?
8.
That's 9.5.
Now it's
Newness.
45.
Anybody want to get some newness? What about innovation? Okay,
They asked for a sporting event money for the first time this year because of the rodeo that they started
Yeah,
last year.
that's true. They did add a show rodeo. Which
was
they're
really cool.
gonna add some competitive element to make it a sporting event so that we could give them a little bit to help put on,
I think it's innovative. I'll give it a 10 for innovation.
The kids who win at the rodeo get an automatic scholarship.
What?
It's high school kids.
well, dang.
Oh, yeah, that's a 10.
Death or scholarship?
That was what started
Yeah.
last year. CJ signed 9 kids or something.
That's awesome.
What do you say for
That's cool.
innovation?
That's, I'll give him a 9.
Okay, John, innovation?
9. 9.
Okay, thank you. That gives me 9.5
It was on Valentine's Day this year.
for innovation. Then, right, Alpine goes towards, we are not actually scoring, so one closer.
Coconut theater. Woo-hoo.
Theater and Big Band.
Yeah.
Well, I still have the ghost tours. I will just skip that one. That's a
Yeah,
12.
it was incomplete. Okay, so impact, this one has historically been a challenge. A lot of visitors go to the plays. It's unclear how many people come to go to the plays.
4th
There-
of July weekend, I had 3 different families come to the Metroplex. They were seeing the play first and then heading to bed
All right, that's great to hear.
on Fridays. after they saw fireworks.
I actually think this is fun, and I really wish they would expand it to include something like, a Christmas, like Charles Dickens thing in the
like-
amphitheater and all
What a
that.
nice idea.
Then, like do the cider and the spice and all that stuff. I would love to see
Yeah.
something like that. So I'm gonna give them a 10.
Yeah, that's a fabulous idea, but you're gonna have to talk them into that.
John, I'm about to unmute, go.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a fabulous idea. I'll give them a 10 based on that, and I hope they do something like that.
Cool. Okay, so we got 2 10s.
They did pay for professional actors to come, right?
They changed that.
Yeah, and they're continuing that.
That's going off.
Mhm.
I'll do 10 on.
They say 1,000 people.
So easy if you do something like that. It's like a Christmas weekend. for all
Oh, this
weekend.
is the summer show.
But they're only asking for summer money here. Heidi, what impact would give them?
That's what I guess I need input. 1,000 people, 1,000 heads in beds just from the theater, the Big Ben.
They estimated 1,000 people using Alpine Hotels Motels through the month. They have
Yeah, it
what,
goes up.
3 shows a week,
For this year, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
that's right.
They added
or
Thursday.
4 shows a week through 1 month.
They added the fourth week.
Okay, I'll go 8.
Okay. That puts them at 9.5 for impact on stays, professionalism. Evan?
Mhm.
10 if you want my number.
One more time, John?
10.
Thank you. Heidi?
I'll give him a, I was thinking 10.
That
I
puts-
can't believe how much those little T signs on every corner work.
They do work.
Yeah, I love them.
What was the professionalism number?
Professionalism number is 9.25.
Usually stop before I stop, I ring and pick up a couple times. Mine or I finally do. Just like go.
Okay.
Everybody awesome.
So capability?
10.
Joanna, 10 from Heidi,
8.
8 from Evan, John?
10.
And 10.
Let's hope they run out of room.
15%.
9.5, and they're asking for 15%.
Yeah.
So what diversity number would you give them, Joanna?
Another 10.
Another 10,
That's
Heidi?
pretty good.
Oh, my paper's messed up.
They get grant funding and
And the university funding in their department.
Okay. I'll go with the 9.
John?
9 as well, please.
Thank you.
9.5.
That is 9.5, wow. Okay, this is not particularly new.
It's their 60th anniversary next year.
Yeah. Their innovation was, and they're going to continue shifting the model until they actually have, their goal is to have an actual repertory company that can do multiple plays with the same cast through the season, but they're not there yet. They innovated, I would say they innovated 2 years ago by shifting to
Charlie Brown.
the paid actors, and that
Wasn't that Charlie Brown?
Mhm. And then they're kind of holding steady now, but does anybody want to give them innovation points? Okay. Then we've done that. So now we're all gonna want to look very closely at the spreadsheet with the tiny numbers on it.
Are you
Okay.
estimating the total estimate for next year, 740, or again?
What we're hoping to bring in?
Yeah.
Total, at this point, all bets are off. I have to wait and see what we actually bring in
Well, I was
this
just
year.
wondering, what's the 15% for the,
Oh, we went,
what did you go with? That's what I-
let me see. Working out the worksheet. I think I went with 600, what we have done in the past as conservative.
Okay, so.
And so the maximums are here on the spreadsheet, actually. Yeah, they're, so they are our maximum available for promotion of the arts, 78,750. And we have 123,000 in requests. Was that cut off yet? This, see, this number here is the overage.
Okay.
So that's what we need to get to, is 78,750 instead of this 123. Now, historical also has a cap, which is 93,750. And
How's it 93?
well, we set aside some city music money and the film rebate, lodging rebate for arts, so that.
Right, but the historic isn't 15% of 600,000, 93,000 or 90,000?
Then it must have been 625.
Okay,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I was like, that's
No,
not,
it is. I see the formula now.
okay.
Yes.
So 93,750.
Yeah, 93,750 is, see, 93,750 is the max we're legally allowed to spend with our guess as to what the collections would be by law. But since we already set aside a little bit of arts money for city programs, that reduces the amount available for grants out of that 93,750. So that leaves 78,750. Arts is the 78. And
Historical.
historical has the full 93. Yeah. So the next one thing that we might do first is identify
And historic,
if, well, I was just saying we might identify if there are any applications
That can switch
That-
their classification.
or that we just want to leave alone and say these are ones that we're going to prioritize
Well-
and then look.
with the historic stuff, you have 94,500 being asked for if we change that signage from the museum to historic instead. The signage money they asked for. So you have 30,000 for ISD for Coconut, 10,000 for the Cowboys for Coconut, 25,000 for the museum for signage, 5,000 for Christmas, 4,000 for civic event studies, and 20,500 for the Ritchie. So you're only $650 over asked what we are allowed to.
And where is the signage on the spreadsheet?
It's the museum one that they pick their own
No,
category.
when we put it under advertising.
No, I think Joanne's suggestion was that be historic, since the museum's the.
And
historic.
it is already there.
Yeah, it's under historical.
Right, so that's, so those are the things I added up, and that comes to 94,500, and you're at, and so you're only.
Was I missing one?
Yeah, I think somebody didn't categorize it correctly, so I was marking them as we just went through them again.
I'm sorry, on our little, this thing, what did you add to that historical restoration column?
30,000 for ISD for the Coconut Field, 10,000 for 06 Cowboys for the Coconut Field, 25,000 for the museum, 5,000 for Christmas. I think her application didn't have the stuff marked on it for the Christmas stroll. 4,000 for the Center of Event Studies,
Oh,
20,500 for Ritchie.
I'm missing the 4.
Okay. So you're off by.
Oh, I have it under arts.
Yeah.
That was the issue. Thank you.
and that should be under
So
historic.
now we're-
It should be under historic, and that does put it to 94.5. So yeah, that was the error that I wasn't seeing.
So
Lower
we just have to
scale
cut
item.
750 from the historical.
Yeah. So we are gonna need to do that now. But what we're really looking at is in total, we have to cut 145,400.
I'm sorry, say it again.
In total, we have to cut from these requests $145,000.
Regardless of the
45,400 regardless of category.
Categories.
And you know, John, when you have something to say, wave, and I'm gonna make everybody shut up and I'll turn your volume up.
Okay,
This is probably when they're doing the formal dance part, they all
Right.
practice and they
Mhm.
all have partners and. when the dancing is happening. I'm enjoying it.
John is waiting.
good, so when do you get the total of how much we have to spend? I mean, I'm thinking, well, maybe that 400,000 is way low. When do you find that out so that you could go back and start tossing out more money? I mean, the more money we spend on Alpine, the better it is.
That's true. And for this budget process, the number's 400 that I get from the city manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
Megan?
So in order to, we're looking to figure out a process to get to a recommendation within the 400 budget. That's ideal. Now, at times, the committee has said, no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna actually recommend something different. You can do that, but I'll be a lot more comfortable if we end up at 400 and I can do what the city manager asked me to.
Yeah. Um.
So where are we starting?
That,
What column?
hi, Megan,
I-
welcome.
I wanted to explain the budget. John.
I didn't do it.
I just like the way.
So it is never good financial practice to utilize fund balance to balance a budget for reoccurring events. You do it 1 year, you're gonna have to do it the next year, and then you're gonna have to do it the next year. And then you will dwindle down what we have saved for ideally capital improvements or bigger events. So we budget based on what we believe we're gonna bring in revenue for the year. So in the entirety, we're budgeting $625,000. A portion of that does have to go to salaries, visitor center, operating costs. The remaining portion we categorize into those 7 required state categories. And so that's where the 400,000 comes in. We also have to take into consideration all of the advertising we're required by state law to meet that 50%. So not that we don't want to spend more money on Alpine, but the initial budget, we try to stay within what we estimate the revenue to come in at. At any time during the year, if the council feels the need to utilize the fund balance, then that does become an option. But I never recommend utilizing the fund balance for expenses that really aren't capital, a one-time expense. If you utilize it to fund events which are reoccurring, and we're gonna lose that fund balance. Does that help, John?
That makes all the sense in the world. Thanks, Megan.
Doesn't mean that if we don't get more tourists in, we'll get more revenue and we'll be able to spend more money.
But I understand the difference between a one-time expense and a recurring expense. If you get into recurring expenses, you're gonna run right through that fund balance.
Anyone else have any questions? Thoughts? I really am listening.
Okay, so we're looking for things that you guys feel are what is most strategic to keep fully funded, what has some wiggle room in your opinion, what things are just lower priority for the hotel industry that can be reduced. We do have
What are your top 3 scores?
we do have, yeah, the top 3 are 80,000 for Coconut Field. We've got 61,000 Texas Cowboy Poetry Gathering. And I believe we've got 45,000 for Art Walk. So those are the top 3. Now,
What's the second one, I'm sorry?
it was 61,400 for Cowboy Poetry. So I think there are 26. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 22 active applications. If we cut equally across all of them, that would be $6,609 we would cut from every application. Now, some of them are 6,000 or less, and it would remove them entirely, but that is one way to think about it.
What about if you did it by a percentage?
Yeah,
Instead
weighted percentage based on what they're asking for.
Instead of by a flat dollar amount, so you wouldn't wipe somebody out.
Yeah,
completely.
that's what I was thinking. If you
Okay,
took that
okay.
and.
Come here, Megan, bring your math skills back.
Okay, I'm going to.
That's what I'm thinking you would do, is just weight it.
Yeah, okay. This is-
I got like a 26 or something like that.
26.66%.
That's what I got,
Oh,
26.6.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
you
something
didn't
right.
have a spreadsheet to help you.
No, I just
so
used
that-
my.
oh,
I
you-
just-
Okay,
So if you took 26, say 27% rounded up, 27% off of each one. Does that make sense? I mean.
it does, but the
but then
next
that leaves you a
question,
wiggle room.
yeah, that is, okay, so the next question, that would be if you guys decided that all of these applications should be funded in whole. Now, you scored them. I mean, you don't have to follow those scores. So the question is, do you feel that any of these applications, because like, say, there might be some, like Viva Big Bend, 10s across the board. You might decide, well, we don't want to cut them 26% because they overperform compared to the other listings. Now, we can do that. That is not difficult to
If you
do.
took, so if you took 30% off of, let's say, somebody that's asking for, what's the smallest one on here, 4,000, 5,000?
3,000 for the,
3,000. So if you took, a quarter of that away, that's like $750.
Mhm.
So, and that still, gives them a substantial amount. So I don't know why we wouldn't just, I mean, the way I see it is they put their things, they put their applications in. We've already looked at and decided.
But then
okay,
you're
these
not
are these-
basically not using what you just spent all this time doing the scores, because we just scored them based on who's performing best and who's, like, the hotels say are actually putting heads in bed.
But if you're weighting it, that goes along with kind of like if they're asking for, to me, if they're asking for 80,000 and you're gonna take, what, 25% of that away, then that's 20,000.
Here's
Very
the,
significant. Like for the Soul Ross College Road for 15,000, if you take the 27 off of that only gives them 10. And they have very specifically denoted like what they are gonna spend these funds for, and it's like a tried and true track record, and they're not over asking.
That's why Chris was asking, is there stuff you guys want to definitely get full funding to off the top and not cut?
No.
if we give the $80,000 to Coconut Field, AISD for Coconut Field, is that field done?
No, well, no, it's long away from it because they're still trying to include getting some of the money once they get all the surveys and everything done from the Alpine Historical Society. But that and the rest of it can be done with grants that way.
and
So if they have that, they can do it.
That we
matching
just-
grants
I
with it.
think it's also a very valid question of, in terms of, we have $400,000 to spread across activities to try and put heads in beds. And of that, what, 80,000 is the percentage. That is 20% of the total
Mhm.
that we have available for that one project. And
And
do
I-
you think it warrants that?
I feel like it gets double funded because didn't the Cowboys include some?
Yes, so that's one of ISD's diversity of revenue, is that they get the payment from the Cowboys. So we give the Cowboys 10,000, they turn around and give it to the school.
Yeah, and then when I talked to someone the other day that's on the school board, and they're saying that they got a lot of funding cut from the state. And so they're actually kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul to keep things going. And that's what keeps happening with Coconut, is that the school doesn't have the money. So Ross is in a position to do it, and there's nobody funding it. And so every time you cut something like this, then they can't go back and do anything with it. And that's basically what he said. And I said, because I asked him, I said, well, why, I thought the school's supposed to pay for things on that. That's why it was given to me. He goes, but they don't have the money because we lost so much state money. And I've heard that. So they're looking for funds from someplace else.
But I think we have to look at it from a heads and beds perspective.
And Coconut Field puts heads in beds.
Just,
Question to ask yourself, is it realistic that they'll be able to spend the 80,000 within that
I think they should be able to if they do the restorations where they're supposed to.
year? Okay, they have to contract, they have to bid. Do you think that they can get all of that done and have it expended, check cut? Remember, they have a bid.
I think you have to give them the opportunity, because if they don't, they have to give the money back, right?
Well, I'm saying give them a year to plan and fund them the following. And
Is
then
that what?
they may know more or less what it really. I mean, if you guys are concerned with.
I mean, I've kind of seen it from both sides over there, and I understand what's going on. And it seems like somebody keeps pointing the finger at somebody else saying it needs to be done. Well, they can't set it up until they get the funds to set it up, or say I've got funds coming in to set it up.
I don't think there's an issue with I've got funds, because there are different revenue sources. Including Toll Ross. I would definitely say, okay, what is it gonna cost? What exactly are you gonna do? We have,
And another question is, what portion of Alpine's hotel occupancy tax grant budget do you think this project warrants? And maybe fund them in that amount? It is a larger business. Now, you might decide that you feel that, hey, it's warranted and we should move it. And I'm not arguing one way or the other.
But I mean, I do, but then I also thought that if you did the 25% across the board or whatever, then that would bring it down, but it brought everybody's down. But then I also see the point where you have certain ones that you want to weight in there, but you can't put the whole 25% on the downside either.
I just think it's probably a bit of a bigger.
Chris?
John's voice.
Is there a component of, maybe it's not something the hotel occupancy tax committee should be doing, but is there a component someplace that we should be helping these people reach out for sponsors? I'm not sure what I'm thinking, but someplace in there, there's sure plenty of money in the Big Bend. You know. Anyway,
I do that a little bit.
I know.
So I do know that Michelle has reached out to. I know that.
No, and again, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that it seems like everybody keeps pointing the finger, and we're looking at a way to bring more people in. And I really feel like it's kind of a diamond out there that just keeps getting pushed to the side.
But I think, no, I'm saying we should fund it, but I think we should have probably.
Like funds it when they're ready instead of tying up the funds.
Yeah, don't try to
Taking
take
it
it
away
away,
from
because
you.
remember, you guys are tying up the fund within the budget, doesn't mean council can't come back in October. In April and say, okay,
Now that you're ready.
you're ready, you have a plan, you have a cost estimate, you have a contractor, we'll give you X amount to help.
Now, do you think that would happen under, because they're asking for funds through, which they had done for Hot Here through the thing going on with Abby and the downtown restoration, that was tied up in that as well, because they were only asking for 8,000 on it for that.
That's a whole different, that's.
Right.
But I think but it should be considered, because if they get that designation, then that opens up other avenues of funding for them. And we've
But-
already put 8,000 towards helping them find these other avenues of funding.
I said, I'm not saying don't not fund it at all, I would.
But that's the whole
definitely-
point of that.
I would
of
just
that
have it in
study.
there and make sure you put it in your recommendation to council, that if we open back up, when they come forward with a timeline and a cost estimate.
Yeah, I really.
A real cost, like, you know, this is the contractor we're gonna utilize for this is the quote we received, you know, we're asking for.
What if,
And you could try to do it within your budget, and like you said, it's 20%. I don't wanna deny them anything, but I don't want you guys to tie up funds that you may use for.
what if we recommended the same funding of 45 that they got last year? With a recommendation to council that they consider hearing directly to council from the ISD as the project goes forward, because it's not an event.
And I don't recall.
They didn't use the advertising first.
They didn't use the advertising part, but they did. It's well underway. I know I've submitted a couple checks, and I think there's maybe one more coming. So, yeah,
So they haven't even used the 45 that you granted them last year, right?
no, they have. I mean, my memory's not great. They've used part of it, and I've talked to their controller recently about the last bit. So yeah, they're gonna use it.
Did they specify in there? I don't remember reading that, how they plan to exactly and specifically use the funds, and is there
It's-
a plan of action to use them? And-
Repairing walls.
Yeah, it was the lights and repairs to the outer wall.
Lighting into compliance with.
Yeah,
The new
enhance the
lighting
dark sky
ordinance.
friendliness of the light.
That doesn't cost 80 grand.
Oh,
It actually costs 200.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the lighting's gonna cost way more than 80.
Wow.
And when is the deadline on that?
So if they were gonna do that, it's a year. They have a year. That's what I'm saying. The funds are gonna get tied up, and let's be realistic. Are they gonna be able to use them? Or do they need to have the project actually secured? And then come back with, okay, we can provide this much funding, and that made you phase one.
It's like how we can't put in an earmark with Congress unless she actually has it all already laid out, like you
Right.
have to already have the project planned, and before you can tell somebody, we would like you to give us $5 million for our waste treatment plant.
So you're saying that they don't necessarily have this whole plan ready. They're just like.
They didn't
"Hey, can we
submit
get
one
some
if they
money?"
do.
I mean, the specs on the lighting, so this is my concern. I know how hard it is for the city to follow the state requirements to get procurement, but because of where we're located and the contractors that are available, they would have to bring in an electrician, they would have to find a vendor that meets the compliance side for new lighting. So to me, it's like, if you want the money, I would definitely have this information available and say, hey, we've already done the legwork, this is what we're asking.
So what do you guys think about awarding them 45 with a recommendation to council to hear from them again outside of the grants process? That would give them
That
the
would make
flex,
sense.
that
I
would
think
give them the
time to get
flexibility
some of the other
if
stuff they're
it
planning.
comes out, but if it comes through, everything goes into, falls
Well,
into
this is
place.
two separate categories too. 30 was sports and 50 was historical. So what if you awarded the 30 of the sports stuff that's not as big of projects, and the 50, you make the recommendation that council look at it when they're ready?
Yeah,
That
I
would
like
be
that.
based
way
based
better.
on their obligation.
Okay.
And I was absent for this conversation, I guess, but the Cowboys baseball, those funds for the historical, is that also going towards the same exact project? Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted.
They have to pay the school so much money every year for the field.
So Rustin,
I thought South Rockland's agreement is maintenance and not payment.
I don't know what the final.
So what is that
price
for
was,
this?
but they
I
are
was trying to find it. I wish I had. I forgot my.
So that,
Yeah.
what are you looking for?
Where
It
we're at
was
on this.
This 50 that we just removed
From sporting events?
from sporting events, yes. So we're still over 4,500 on historical, and now we're at 95,000 that we're over. Which is 4,336 per application. But I need to remove to lower that by one. That's
We went through the top three most expensive. Then if you look at the second three most expensive, Big Bend Community Baseball Cowboys at 35,000. No, Alpine Cowboys are at 40, Viva Big Bend at 35, and then Comic-Con at 30,000.
Which is a total like shot in the dark.
Right,
Yeah, I
it
think
doesn't
Comic-Con
compare
needs
at
to come
all
back
with the
in.
other two. So
Right.
From the beginning.
I don't think that funding it at $30,000 is appropriate.
I think
The
that's a
Comic-Con
great place to make like
Yeah.
a link,
That went through my mind earlier.
so what
especially since you were 100% of their funding, right?
I think that advertising at 10,000 is fine, but the promotion of the arts at 20,000.
Well, then, of course, that's
That's what we
where,
pay for the person.
that's what would pay for the hook. That's what would
I
actually
don't know that
bring
they
the
need
people.
10,000 for advertising, because like
Yeah.
Evan
No.
said, they have a very captive audience. It's already a very specific audience. that
I'd
you
take
can
5,000
target
off of
easier.
each.
Yeah, I think, like, how much do you actually think that would cost? Target people that you already know you're
But give them
targeting.
5,000 for advertising and 15,000 for promotion. Okay, does that work?
I've done it, for now. I mean,
Okay.
it gets us
If you take
somewhere.
5,000 off of the advertising for Comic-Con, make that 5,000 even instead of 10. And then you take 5,000 off of the promotion to there, which drops that to 15,000.
And
How
we
much
should-
does
that-
it
where does
cost to
that
get
put
a
I have
figure?
no idea.
I mean,
Well, you have to pay their travel and a stipend. And so, and it depends on-
Jean-Luc Picard.
Exactly. If it's somebody big that would, but then, in Kishmish, how many people can it actually hold?
yeah,
How many can they get? I don't know.
I
if
think
they
that
can
would be
actually
more
get
real.
people.
Where did that put us if when we did that, Chris?
That put us to
That's
Uh,
like Cowboy Poetry's is a lot. and
85,000 over. We also do still need to cut 35,000 from promotion of the arts specifically.
I think we
because
should
we're
cut
under there.
more from.
I agree,
magical
more
wear.
Okay, well, let's take it to 10.
I think they need to do a little bit more. room.
Well, they are, wait a minute, okay. Alpine Gallery Night, they're asking for 20,000.
That's for music.
That's Art Walk.
I wouldn't have done any
Mm-hmm.
of that.
That's Art Walk, you don't do that.
You see how many requests there are. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
They're the largest unknown.
So
The magical one?
Yeah,
And the Texas tour, they're asking for 10,000.
So if this is also something where if we cut everybody straight across the board, it would be $2,500, 25, 21. We cut from everybody, that would make our mark, or, hit our mark for.
by a percentage,
art.
is that what you're saying?
If we did it
Just
just
straight
straight,
dollar amount.
and if.
That
we
would
did
have
it-
a huge impact on like, taking away that much money would have a huge impact on 4th of July. Who's
Or-
only asking for 6.
Yeah, Family Crisis Center is only asking for 3,000.
So that's
Then if
not-
we-
So what is the percentage?
Yeah, I'm working on that next.
Actually, we could take magical down to at least 10 and then do that percentage
I
for
honestly
everybody
think
else.
Magical Warehouse only needs like 8 grand to,
I'd go with
for
that.
their
even.
first start. Like,
8 total?
yeah.
No,
How
we're
do
talking
you,
about
what's the split?
whatever it
4
needs
and
to be.
4.
I think
No,
they
you
need
don't need
more
that
for
much
the
for
person.
advertising, more for the promotion.
Probably only need
2
like
and
2
6?
$2,000 for them.
2006.
I think if they're only doing Facebook ads, yeah, they're not that expensive.
Okay,
Even Google ads are.
that
But you
brings
need a
us
website.
to,
Do they have one?
25% if we cut across the board.
Mhm.
$2,000 each if we did it straight. We're at 26,250. We still need to cut from arts.
You
From
don't want
the
to cut
arts.
family, okay, what would that do the Family Crisis Center though?
Well, if we did
The percentage?
25%,
Oh, okay, that'd take 500, that wouldn't be too bad.
so you want to do 2,000 for them?
But if you're doing this blanket one, we're not addressing the promotion
No,
of
wait.
the arts separately.
But-
That's
but
the
that-
problem with.
Well, I
taking-
am looking just at that column right now.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. The, what is that one? Texas Tour 90, $5,000.
That's for the web, the
So then
website.
the promotion, for the promotion of the art part.
That's development of the website. Graphics, etc. for the website.
Can we take it down to 3?
Certainly.
Where did you go? I can't
That's
see
right
it.
to the
So there it is.
line 22. You don't have a number. So right above it.
Oh, okay, there's that one.
Oh, Nadine.
Oh, it's under Nadine, that's why.
Oh, sorry about
Okay,
that.
Texas Tour over here, got it. We're good.
And then,
Like, for this Texas tour thing, a lot of these places that she is suggesting to promote already have graphics that they can offer her in a PR package that they already have. These are like already venues across the state. So like her having to pay for graphics, it seems kind of like not legit to me.
I kind of think she called it graphics when it's really developing the web, but she called it graphics because it was under arts.
Yeah.
Like a slight misunderstanding of the broadness that we can use arts, because it's making the website is an arts expense because it's for music, as far as I'm concerned.
Right,
So
and then so she's making this website that represents a very expansive region of Texas, not
Very
just
true.
us.
Mhm.
It's not just for us, it probably won't focus on us. And so I just feel like that's a lot of money to give somebody
Mhm.
that doesn't even focus on this area.
very true.
I feel like she needs to get her funding from all over the state. That we should represent a percentage of that in relation to the area that she's covering,
I agree.
which would be like $1,000.
I agree.
Total or, oh, John's waving his hand. So here we go. John.
No, you go finish up with what you're saying. I just have a suggestion when you get done.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, well, make your suggestion, John.
Well, if you go back up to historic home tour, down, stop. Change advertising to 7,500 and promotion of the arts to 2,500.
On which one?
That is a holiday historic homes, Christmas in Alpine.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That was
'Cause
$75.
we should have looked at that earlier, because I mean, that's like people just walking down Silver Ramos. Seriously.
Yes, well, doesn't Alpine have the largest?
So what did he,
conglomeration?
what
He's
did he
talking about-
propose?
Not there though.
Okay, the
It's
Alpine
outside.
Historical
Mhm.
Preservation for the,
We should walk around the
the
south.
Christmas stroll.
yeah,
He
the
said
Christmas stroll. We're just-
7,500 for advertising.
Yeah,
And John, you said 2,500 for,
2,500 for that and 2,500 for hysterical restoration.
hysterical. Do you say 75 or 25 for advertising?
25.
500 for each of the other two.
Oh, okay, all right, got
categories.
it.
Okay,
Oh,
because that was $22,000.
Okay, so then for Texas Tour 90, Nadine Manhart, what would you want to do for advertising? And what would you-
3,000.
Do 500 and 500.
500 and 500? Is everyone in agreement with that?
Not really, but I got outvoted.
I'd give her more for advertising, please.
Do what?
I'm sorry, excuse me. I would give her more for advertising, like another 500.
What do you guys think?
I'm okay with that.
Can you please just briefly explain the difference between advertising and promotion of the arts?
Advertising is with advertising is everything. It's an actual ad going out. It's outside of the area. And one of the limitations in the advertising fund is that only 15% of the money you get for advertising can be used for production expenses, which would be like web development, photography, videography, because we want. That's the main thing that she needs, but that's the way the category works. That's the city's policy for that category. That's why she put it in promotion of the arts, because that was a way we could do production expenses
And if we
for
limit
music.
it to advertising, then she has nothing to have.
Exactly. She has to get the website
She
done.
needs product.
Mhm.
That's why I
So
think
in
they got
fact,
at
you
least
could do
2,000.
nothing for advertising and $1,000 for
I think $1,000 would you.
A good
to
website.
get her started
Mhm.
and then come back next year to promote it.
Mhm.
Yes, come back to all 30 cities on.
Mhm.
For your 30.
Still need almost 20,000 that we need to cut from promotion of the arts.
What's our difference between the promotion of the arts and the overall right now? Like, how much do we need to cut overall compared to promotion of the arts?
Overall, we need to cut 56,900. 20 of that needs to come out of promotion of the arts.
Okay, I was just curious.
And then another 36 everywhere else.
So from where we are now, I'm okay with doing a percentage.
Okay, do you want to do a percentage of all of them or percentage of the ones we haven't cut?
I don't agree into that, because I think some of these like tried and true, one should be kept out of that cut. The ones that have historically proven to book hotels, they know exactly what they need, that very professional applications, and their points on the scale or overall higher capability and.
Like art walk and poetry.
Yeah, our walk poetry, the Viva Big Bend,
I pulled the rodeo too.
oh, the rodeo. What else?
That's promotion of the arts?
No, it's overall, it would be overall. So that
Oh,
was.
yeah. Let's just look at the promotion of the arts column.
That's how I was separating them so that we would have a better understanding.
Now, one thing we could do, it's small, but on the Ritchie, we could say, we could just remove the event part of it.
Just
We
kind
could
of
remove the
historical
1,000
restoration.
for arts, remove the 500 for advertising, because we don't even know if they're gonna, when they're gonna get it done.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
I feel like they just threw that in at the last.
And you know, it was my recommendation to try and make sure, because last time the Granada came looking for money for their sign, and the committee wasn't comfortable funding this private business infrastructure. And so I thought, well, maybe that'd give you an extra hook. And so I encouraged it, but
Yeah,
it's unnecessary if you guys think there's
I
value
have
in
the same
venue.
feeling about the deck.
Mhm. Well, and it's an understandable reservation.
I think the fact that we just funded $40,000 for entire private businesses to get
I
grants.
suppose you're hungry for dinner. We'll get to you.
I like funding all these businesses because
The $40,000 for the historic stuff is specifically gonna help the historic,
The historic buildings then get grants.
yes.
Mhm.
So we can lessen that.
Well,
20,000.
But the Ritchie already could utilize this because it's already a historic thing.
I do think, I mean, we had the conversation, I agree with everything all of you said about the value of this as a venue. And so I do believe, you guys felt like it would have an impact just existing. I still agree with that. So I personally am in favor with going ahead and doing it if you guys are. That's not, we do need to cut 36 in general, but that's not arts that we need to cut.
I would only cut the grand opening.
And we've removed that now. And so now we're at 18,750 for arts that we need to cut.
Can we look at the guitar thing?
We can?
Yeah, you guys told me about that. I missed the whole.
That is
weighted scale on that.
it's the, I'll put it
Can you-
right up
It's
front.
Can you tell me the numbers that we made on it? So I wasn't here for that
Mhm.
portion.
Right.
Oh,
here.
the score?
Yes.
Yeah, it did not score particularly well because it's a brand new thing. And it's a kind of a niche audience because it's classical guitar. So that was 4.5 for
Is it being held?
at the Museum at the Big Bend, and it's
I really like that venue. for
it's a
it.
great venue for classical guitar. And I'll make my pitch for it, which is not unbiased. I'll tell you that right now. Because the guy putting on, Nick, is a friend who I adore, but he's also super talented classical guitarist. And so anyway, so yeah, Museum of the Big Bend, we did this first time around, we did a kind of reception and workshop at Far West Guitars, and there's a Marfa performance as well. And so the idea is one, to have an event in early February, because that is well before our season starts. Cowboy Poetry is really what kind of kicks things off. So I really pushed them to, let's put it at a time we don't have anything. It was the first weekend in February, yeah. And so it's new in that we're reaching out to a new audience of people who aren't already coming. While that Heidi is correct, that is a small audience. I think that if we can engage the people who are really into that, so there's a whole world of competition guitarists, classical guitarists that go out and they compete with each other and they win prizes and things like that. This is not going to quite be that, and that's what a guitar festival is, usually has a competition as the core. But the idea is to tie together different universities because it's coming out of Sul Ross Music Department. So one of the things that happens is they bring in really highly recognized performers that they also then do masterclass for Sul Ross students. But one of the things we're looking to do in the future is to open that to other universities to try and, you know, bring their students in to also get in the masterclass thing to get, so that those are more heads, more in,
That's really
you
cool.
know.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Group of
entire
guitarists,
department.
they all have to, like,
So
mix.
this year, it's probably gonna be pretty small, where it's gonna be a pretty slow build. But that's where it got really high points for newness and innovation because it hadn't been done. It's addressing these new things. But in terms of actual impact, the committee wasn't that impressed with what they thought would happen this year.
Is it $4 grand to pay for him to play?
There,
One
yeah,
person or multiple?
it's
It was 2 last time, wasn't it?
yeah, and there's one particular one who's like, as I understand, his stature is kind of like those two guys put together in the community. And so it's primarily one major performer, but I think there'll be like Nick himself did so there'll be other recital, you know, performers happening, but there's one key headliner, let's say.
I think when I looked at that, for the number of people it drew to spend $10,500, it was a huge amount per person
Yep.
to get them here.
I feel like if it's at the school and they're a new building and they have a huge advertising fund already, how come they aren't advertising for this event?
They actually don't have a huge advertising fund. I mean, the university's advertising fund is all used on recruitment, on student
The
recruitment.
museum of-
It
Isn't that where this is?
It
happening?
is, but it's not their event. They're allowing it to happen there. So in fact, it's a university event.
Odd.
Yeah, that's happening that says, hey, museum, what do you say? And they said, sure.
Maybe the museum could just pitch in with their mailing list or something.
I'm sure they would. And in fact, they did. Yeah,
Did they?
this
Good.
last year. Yeah. And
It
so
seems
what
like they're incorporating with the school. Connected to-
the university, well, what the
They probably
university
didn't charge them for the space, right?
The
That's kinda like
university
the-
helped kick in they donated the space. They did email boosts. The Sul Ross News and Information did a PR, you know, they did a press release, broadcast, things like that. And they paid a small honorarium towards the master class. So they did kick into that. Now, if you guys want to reduce this some, you can still have the event. There's no reason you have to fund this in its entirety.
Is the master class that they're like trying to get up and running, is it going to be able to generate its own future income to pay its musicians, or like how does that work with the school? Like how does this like event perpetuate through the next 3 years?
That's an excellent question. Right now, it's possible to, at some point, to charge ticket prices too, but one of the things that we both tried to do, and I'm gonna be helping, I tried to help line up some sponsors and I wasn't successful for this first year. Part of that was the timing. We had to move fast because one of the musicians actually had a visa issue. He had just finished his
Oh, no, it's like
doctorate,
go
you know,
back
and
forth.
yeah, exactly. And so there was that tight window. So I think that
But don't you have to usually pay for a master class as like someone who's coming to the master class? Don't you
I
like
don't
pay
think
for
the
that?
students did. Well, the university did pay an honorarium to the teacher for the university students. Now that could be spread if another university was going to bring their students, then probably they could kick in some. There could be ticketing at some point, but we thought we'd get a better local turnout if they didn't have to pay a cover, you know, to come see it because they might go.
Why don't we take that one down to 3,000?
That's
and
probably
then-
fair.
If you started from the bottom or even from the top, and if you just want to spread the rest of it across, I know you just gonna make everybody cringe, but if you take some of the big numbers and like you start with the bluegrass and just take 5 off of that one, let me finish, and then you go down to, what is it, Art Walk, not maybe 2 off of that one. And then you go down to Lone Star Poetry, take 2 off of theirs. And then I think it's Viva Big Ben, knock 2 off of theirs. See what that brings you down to. And then you shouldn't be that far off, but everybody's still getting money and they're not that far off of what they were supposed to get to begin with.
What John say?
He didn't, it was next door. I know. I looked.
I kept hearing it too, but I was talking earlier, but it sounds like him, but it's not. It's still leaving the majority of the big ones with the big money. It's just taking a little bit from each
So I
one.
did exactly what you suggested, and that puts us at 6750. Still needs to be. Okay, I know, this is the hardest one. It's the most
And how much
competitive.
needs to be cut off of it still?
6,750 still needs to be removed. Now, we haven't touched Spirits of the West.
Oh, that was one of them, I think, too. All the big ones, you just need to take,
That one
like,
is at 11.5 right now.
you know, I'll just say take 1,500 off of it.
What did we knock the magical warehouse down to on promotional arts?
Thought we took them down to that one. Which one was
They're
it?
at
Is it
6
1,000?
right now.
For promotion of the arts?
They're still at 6. We'll take.
Oh,
it.
I put it at 1.
Yeah.
Approved to come? I thought that's why you guys got that one higher.
It was Texas Tour 90. We took that.
Texas-
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
6,000 and
The
2,000.
Magic Warehouse needs to come on down to
4,000.
big time.
Yeah, we put that at
I mean, we
4.
took the Tour 90 down to 1,000 and then we left them, and I believe more in the Tour 90 than I do the Magic Warehouse.
Okay, we've got,
I think they should be even.
I think the Magic Warehouse has a better chance of being completed this year.
I do
Con
too.
event.
They're,
You may be right about
Then
that.
that's website.
they have the venue and they have the niche market.
I think they have a better chance of actually making it happen this year than that website being.
You could be right.
4,000?
yeah, it's at 4 now.
And Where is that?
And that we still have 3250. Do you want to bring Cowboy Dance down a little bit from 2,500? You want to do 2,250 or?
Where's
You
the
didn't
Cowboy
take
Dance?
anything off of the Cowboy Dance and the 4th of July, and I would put those in similar.
Yeah. you did
Okay.
too.
Take, yeah,
So you want-
Where's the Cowboy Dance
in
at?
at the top, big venue.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what do you want it to be? You want to be 2,000?
Take it to 2,000.
That one, because they.
Oh, John's hand is up.
Oh,
Go ahead, John.
2,000, I was agreeing.
okay.
Great, thank you.
And what was the other one?
The other one was
4th of July, still getting
which is at
3,000.
2. It's already at 2.
Take Spirits of the West down to 8,000.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that
And that
that.
puts us with 750 to go.
Leave it alone.
50?
And you didn't take it off of the Richie, right?
Leave it
Yeah, we
alone.
removed them completely. John?
Just leave it alone. If you're
Yeah.
only $700 over, unless Megan is gonna throw darts at you, I would just leave it alone.
That's fair.
Megan heard that.
Okay, so then,
Uh-oh, sorry, Megan.
I'm being
Okay.
polite and not responding.
Yeah, I'll bet. I'm gonna get a letter in the mail or something.
okay, so then
Is there any of them we didn't cut that you know of?
For the promotion of the arts.
we didn't cut the 4th of July. We did cut Bluegrass 5,000.
Oh, that's a lot. That's.
Which is a lot.
I think it's too much.
Okay,
Should go back up to like 12 with that.
okay.
That's a lot of artists.
Now, I do think that we can be confident that we will probably collect more than 625,000 next year. And so we could consider that 2,750 as some flexibility there, but we do still have, in general, we have to cut 39,400 from somewhere.
Well, you
Could be
haven't
from other
touched
places.
Coker Knot, or you haven't touched the high school alumni at all.
No.
And that's
we
a
need to.
very high amount,
She's right
10,000.
about that. Where'd high
For the
school
overall.
alumni?
Let's see.
And I would like to drop down the Richie. I
Okay.
think 20,500 is too much for,
I think this alumni event will not require very much advertising, but it will require like the sporting event money.
So
Okay.
they could have a good race and if people, this just seems like it'd be a great race area.
Yeah, like the whole event, like hosting that is so expensive.
We actually, they don't, most of the races don't get great turnout.
That just
Oh,
blows my mind.
'Cause They
Do
don't,
they hire the companies that put races on?
and they don't have the little things that make them count for a time.
Oh, no.
I think
And
they
the color run, you don't do that anyway. The color run is just like you, it's like a fun thing.
That's
Where
like
they like
playing
throw
football.
cookies at you while you run.
even the marathon to marathon?
Marathon does because it's legit. Their
Okay.
numbers have been down since COVID, but they actually have, theirs is a true time thing. And so it's like the Transpic, well, what do you call it now? It's not the Transpic, what's Chris's thing now? It's not got the same name.
Oh, the ultra?
Yeah, but like his is actually, they wear the bib timer and all
Yeah.
that.
So sorry to interrupt, the marathon to marathon is a Boston qualifier.
And funded by Marathon.
But otherwise,
Would
like,
say that again, John?
And funded by Marathon, question mark?
Good question. I don't know what their funding picture is. I know they have sponsors, but what they are. I would prefer to try, and we do need to cut some out of advertising, but I'd prefer to cut less because we do still have our 50% minimum.
so if you're gonna cut less advertising, you have a couple applications that's all they're looking for, which is the college, no, the college radio asks for everything out of sports, right? They're only asking for 15.
Why don't you take the 2,000 off of the, for transportation out of the historical, tour? What do you need $2,000 for transportation in the historical tour for?
On the Christmas store,
Mhm.
it paid for hayrack ride, my husband did it, and. not
That was
$2,000.
$2,000?
No, and then the horse and carriage stuff is what it pays for.
But that's not $2,000.
I don't know I don't know where it all split up, but I mean, like, we did the hayrack ride and it was. He would pay $500, but a load of hay costs $375.
I know. I was like,
Bring it on.
yeah. And then, okay, then you got Viva Big Ben and they're asking for 1,000, which is really low in comparison to everything else they asked
For
for.
transportation?
Yeah.
That's
Shuttles.
that's the shuttle that takes people from Alpine American.
Yeah.
Or to
And
Marfa.
Marfa and
Sorry.
other, places. So do you guys
I
want to,
think that being a nighttime event where people drink, that needs to keep with transportation money.
do you all agree? Do you want to edit the transportation on Christmas?
I think
I think it
2,000
could
is
be
too much
less.
for it. Yeah. I'd take it to at least 1,000, if not 500.
500.
Okay,
I think if you found the right people, they would donate their time. to
What's
that.
the transportation for Lone Star?
It's the shuttles from the parking lots and the hotel. So it's actually the hotels. They start at the hotels so that there is not as many cars parked at Saw Ross. They take them from the hotel straight to the
They
University
run,
Center.
yeah.
and they also help folks to get from the
From-
parking lot to the venues.
How about the
But
3,000?
our
for
money
Lone
has to
Star
be used
Sports
on the ones
Gathering?
from the
Can we take that to
hotel. Our
1,500?
money is used on the ones from the hotel.
What's that again?
Our money is used on the ones from the hotel.
Right. The 3,000 was for the rodeo, and you can do anything you want.
But I mean,
It was just for
Was that-
before.
but what is it used for? Is that the one you're saying?
Sometimes it's for livestock is a lot of the time,
Well,
but
I think we could at least take it to 1,500.
For a rodeo? I
No,
don't,
down here at the Lone
Yeah.
Star,
for the Lone Star,
Oh.
for their rodeo.
For
I
their
don't think
rodeo.
you could put a rodeo on for. I don't think that's,
John's waving. Go ahead, John.
If you look across at requests for 23-24 and award, it's $22,000 that we took away last year. And did we hear a lot of yelling and screaming?
yeah.
From Cowboy Poetry, is that what he's talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, they always ask for a lot.
Yeah, I really think we should, because that is quite a bit up there.
yeah.
Even though they bring in a lot,
One could say that, because, look at the request from Big Bend Ranch Rodeo and
but that was one that
Sunrise.
looked at. Big Bend Ranch Rodeo could be taken down to 15, I would say. at
it,
least.
it could, because that was their award from last year.
Is theirs all sports money?
It is.
It's just paying for stock and. They don't need help advertising.
And
they
how
have everything.
about the Big Bend, the baseball and softball CBA? I know that's sports and everything, but couldn't we shave just a little bit off? We really haven't shaved too much off of them at all.
It's true.
We haven't touched them at all. They're at 40,000 total.
Yeah,
And they had 30, they asked for 34 last year and were awarded only 20. And now they're asking for 40.
I say take them back to 30 then. Knock 10 off of that, that still puts them up higher than they got
And
last
where
year.
do you wanna take that?
But you don't want to take it out of advertising. you
Well,
said,
we can
right?
take
No.
some, but I'm mainly just don't wanna do a ton out of advertising, but.
No,
we
you'd
can
have to
bring
take
down
5 out of the historical res and 5 out of the.
I think
sporting
you should
event.
keep the historical the same on there.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
actually some
Alright.
backstory there.
Okay.
It's gonna be, their life is gonna be a lot easier if you
Just
leave it.
so we don't have some campaign again begging everyone.
All right, well, you know,
But yeah, I'm fine with doing, let's see, so you wanna do 10 in each?
Huh?
Now, remember, they got 10s across the board for their scoring.
Yeah,
Where are we on?
Alpine Cowboys baseball.
no, I'm
That's
looking at
Yellow
the
Return.
Alpine
That's them.
Big
That-
Bend
that's
community,
not-
it's the
that's-
same. Okay,
Look at the
right,
third
okay.
column.
Oh, okay.
That's
I see
their
what you're talking about.
actual-
Okay, right.
Nonprofit name.
I'm wondering about 12,000 for advertising and 8 for the historical
Okay,
restoration. It gets them closer, but we're still favoring the promotion to bring people to town.
Yeah. You also haven't touched Theater of the Big Bend. They asked entirely for only advertising money though, so I didn't know if that was.
Yeah, and it's 25, and we're at 223, which would be half of the grant money. We could we have to remove $21,400
Still,
in general.
take Theater of the Big Bend down to at least 20.
That was their award for last year.
and then you could look at the museums. They're all very high.
Yes, now that 25,000 for the sign, we all
looked at
agreed it
that.
was a good project.
Do you
It's a
think they
brand
need
new thing.
25,000?
I,
Think whatever they get, they could probably find a grant to match it, another grant to match it.
Which one is that for?
The signs at Museum of the Big Bend.
25,000, but that's under historical, right?
We switched it to historical, but
Yeah.
we still, it will still help the total overall.
Mhm.
Their signs are like pretty huge.
Well, we're talking about.
These
so
are
you-
ones
they
off
can't
campus?
Find it because of, there's just that sign.
You want to add a sign.
I tell people 20 times a day how to get there.
yeah, in fact, I was leaving the library and I was in the parking lot and you could see the museum from where I was and somebody pulled up asking me where the museum.
Yeah, it's not clear.
Try it to 20,000 and see what happens.
Okay, if we drop,
I mean, I
I-
don't disagree with what you guys are saying, but we gotta shave somewhere.
Yeah.
I think that signs to like, yeah.
I would suggest maybe taking trappings and the museum to 20, but I
I would
would,
agree with that.
Yeah,
the 25 for general, they're promoting all year long with that. And so I would suggest keeping that in full.
Okay, take trappings to.
And so now we're at 11,400.
Hmm.
That needs to come,
Did,
which is 2.77% across the board.
what if you just take that off of every single number on?
some of them you've already cut a lot. I think that would be,
Let's,
at
yeah,
this point, it was kind of hard to take the point.
okay, so anything high that stands out, one,
I still say you could take another, off of the holiday historic homes, the 7,500 is still too high for advertising. I think she could get away with 5,000 each.
There you go. I like it.
okay,
How much did you say?
Take it from 10 to 5. Well, it was 10, we took it to 75, now 5, I think.
Well, one
That-
thing she's good at PR, which doesn't
She is,
cost.
and everybody knows about it.
like advertising.
now last year's Cowboy Poetry Award was 50,400.
What are they at
Right now, they're at 57,900. We
We take
could,
it down. then,
we
do
could
you want to?
remove that 38 is the single highest
It
advertising.
is, what are we short?
They buy it's because they buy the billboard.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and they do look for new places to spend it, so I think we should give them.
they're effective with what they use, but. what are
Right
we
now,
sh-
we're at 8,900 to come, that we need to cut.
So give them 30,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
For advertising.
Now we have 900.
Is there anyone who hasn't? been
Take
put
the
it
end of the Big Bend down to 19 in advertising.
on? Wait, did you guys did Center for Big Bend Studies get everything they asked for?
Where's it at?
Yes, that's 4,000 historical and 4,000 advertising.
Oh, wait,
They're advertising.
Can't, where's it at?
It's Center for Big Bend Studies.
Cause they already have a pretty good idea for
There it
the.
is.
So there it is, found it, finally. Oh, I'd already marked through it like we had, okay. Yeah, that works.
So what do you want to do? You want to take 500 from each? You want to take 1,000 from one?
Just take 1,000 from advertising. It's new, so they'll be happy with whatever they're getting, right?
No, Center for Big Bend Studies is in their 30th year.
But it's they don't always request.
Right.
They've managed without it
Yeah.
in the past.
Yeah, just give them.
Okay, well
that's
that,
good. That put us where we need to be.
it certainly does. We have, in fact, we can give $100 back. to somebody.
Why don't we give it to Megan?
I'll take $100.
We can give it to the cowboy dance.
No, they offered it to me first.
Because they struggle.
Can I have $100 for Christmas candy for the Christmas parade? Sure.
Okay, well,
Is our work here done?
you know, there's one thing left, and that is to officially vote on this as a recommendation. to
Where's
city
the
council.
percentages fall? I'm sorry, before you do that, can I ask what the percentages are for, where are we at for the total dollar amount for the promotion of the arts and the historical?
Okay, at historical, we're at 85,000, which is well under
Yeah.
the total, and promotion of the arts, we are 2,850 over. But I'm comfortable with that. I'm confident we'll collect that much more than 6.
And what was the total for?
The total for promotion of the arts is 81,600.
Did we take the Ritchie down? Are they still at 20,500?
You know, you had talked about that, and they are. We haven't set a number.
I'd be happier with like 12.
I like where they're at because
I'm
I think
okay
it's-
with it.
I think it's
And we're
gonna cost
set.
a lot more than 20 grand to
I-
get that.
let's
It
give
is,
them
but it's a private business. They're already historical. They have other avenues.
But they bring it, they are like a hub of the community right now. Like everyone that comes to Alpine.
Yeah, a lot of people have heard
At
of
a younger
going over
age,
to
it's like,
Ritchie.
where do you go? Everyone says, go to the Ritchie. Where else can you go?
It is about the only life on Murphy Street these days.
He really is over there.
I will acquiesce.
It's
I'm on record. That's all
It's
that
a-
matters.
yeah,
All right.
it is-
Appreciate your.
It is really valuable.
It really has
conversation.
started, yeah, it has started picking up and I myself, I think when the winter comes on, it's like their business dies because they don't have any place for people to go. So if you give them that, then it increases that revenue, which actually increases the sales, which is, you know, all in the song.
Plus some of that will go to the general fund because they sell alcohol.
Yeah. Okay, and that's the only thing we're ahead of in town right now anyways. Mixed drink sales.
Okay, so we
Drowning our sorrows.
we have a budget that we can put towards a recommendation to council, and so now I'm gonna need a motion.
I make a motion that we recommend to council these numbers that we have developed here tonight.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion from anyone on the committee? Then
John?
he's not waving his arm.
I agree.
That
Hello. You just fell into
okay,
a,
so
Now he's talking.
okay, I'm gonna shut up, John. Speak.
I'll third the motion.
Thank you, John.
Okay, so then all in favor, please raise a hand.
We're done.
We are unanimous. Thank you very much. The motion passes unanimously, and we will. So is there anything else on our agenda tonight that we need to do? Are there any comments from any of the board members before we leave?
I really loved how everybody filled out all the applications more thoroughly this year.
And added,
Added so
Yeah.
much information.
but if we could make a comment to Megan, as what we said earlier, that if they come back the next year and they're asking from the previous year, could they please show the before and after of what they spent that money on?
Yes.
We would like to see that in there. What was that money spent on that they got if they're coming back again? Yes.
Better. reported
Agreed.
than Previous year.
Agreed. I heard Megan. Agreed.
Okay, Heidi, have you any comments?
No, I found this very interesting.
Thank you. John, any comment?
Right?
No, not at all, except a small comment in that every year that the Big Bend Film Commission has done this, I believe we've come in under budget. And so
We have to come in really under budget.
I think if these people work hard at it and anyway, I think it's been a great session.
Thanks, John. And so, yeah, I have two quick comments or a request. You had mentioned a train event, and I want to
Love
follow
that,
up
yes.
and let's brainstorm on that. And every time we meet, you have such sharp, focused comments and ideas that I would like to kind of schedule a brainstorming session with you sometime to think through some of our promotions, because I think you bring a lot. Thank you. And John, I'm confident that we can get somewhere with the Big Bend Film Commission, because some of that sponsorship stuff, since it's already a partnership with the city, I think our general promotion fund can handle some of the sponsorship. And I was helping visit Big Bend with their marketing committee, and they had a line item for film promotion that it was languishing, and they didn't really know what they wanted to do with it. So I made the pitch, and they were friendly to that idea. So tomorrow afternoon.
Bless you, my son.
Go ahead.
Bless you, my son.
So yeah, I don't know if we'll get all the way there, but we'll get somewhere. So thanks, everybody.
Bye, Megan.
It's adjourned at 8:20.
Thank you all, Evan. You take care. See you guys later. Megan, I don't care what I said about you. I didn't mean a word of it.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank
Good
you
night.
so much.
Thank you.
When are we gonna have our?
I know you did.
Will we do it like a quarterly, another?
Yeah, and then we have a standing quarterly. This happens just once a year.
So you are through with my services for the
Are
moment.
you still on them?
Ma'am,
Still recording.
Oops.
do I know how to stop it recording?
You can do that. That's a souvenir.
Stop share?
That's a souvenir.
Bye.
Christy, you need this.
Bye.
Recording.
I will see you Monday.
Yes, ma'am.